It's like it has a mind of its own every time. Hello, we are live. We're about to play Dream Chaser, a game of Destiny. It's a tabletop role-playing game that I like to say adapts to the interest of your players. So we're going to zero in on what my group of players here are interested in. So if each of you could say who you are or what you want to be called, right? Let's start with my left, which I know is Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy.
Okay. And then we're moving right along. Lucid, you want to say hi?
I'm Lucid.
Okay. And then we have Miss Morgan.
Hello, I'm Morgan.
All right. So the first thing we do in Dream Chaser is we have each player come up with a goal for the game. And we call it Dream Chaser because we're going to chase their dreams. So each goal is created in a short sentence, maybe 5 to 7 words, something, kind of vague, but meant for us to be able to build a story around. So I'm just going to go in the same circle I went a second ago, and we'll start with Jeremy. Why don't you give us one of yours?
To pet the cat.
What was it? To pet the cat?
Yes, to pet the cat.
Oh my God. Okay. And then that's only funny because I've been reading Laser Kittens. So I've been reading cats all day. So it's funny you threw cats in there. Lucid, what about you?
Gotta activate the moon.
Activate the moon. Awesome. So we don't know why, or why is it turned off, or what do we have to activate about the moon? Or maybe it's even, you see, I'm going to shut up. I got too excited. Morgan.
Execute the king.
Oh, of course somebody would go dark, wouldn't they? Jeremy, get another?
To read the sacred text.
Okay. I wonder what it'll say. And Lucy, do you have any more?
Create a synthetic life form.
Nice. And Morgan?
Complete the prophecy.
Okay. And anybody have any more? Okay, awesome. So we're just going to run through them again. Usually what we do is we'd have these on index cards, we pass them around, let people put tallies on them, find out which one has consensus. But obviously that's a lot harder here. So we'll say them all out again, and then we'll see if we can kind of get consensus amongst the three of you of which ones you like the most. So Jeremy, go and say both yours.
To pet the cat and to read the sacred text.
Okay. And then Lucid?
Create a synthetic life form and activate the moon.
Okay. And Morgan?
Execute the king and complete the prophecy.
Okay. Jeremy, do you have a favorite? Or a couple favorites?
I do like the activate the moon one. And that one did sound intriguing. And as always, to pet the cat.
Nice. How about you, Lucid?
Well, petting the cat. I mean, if it's a cat. I think it'd be fun having a prophecy in there too.
Okay. And then, and you're kind of touching on third base here. We'll get there. That just might happen. Morgan?
I like activate the moon as well.
Okay. All right. So it looks like we have a 2 and 2. I'm going to say, God, that white glow is crazy. Let me just cover that down. Why don't we? Yeah, I think that we should. Was pet the cat?
Pet the cat.
God, do I want to activate the moon while we pet the cat? Or on the way to petting the cat? Or do I want to pet the cat?
Maybe petting the cat activates the moon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's where I'm jumping to. So let's activate the moon. And what I'm doing there is basically the guide, myself in this case. I break ties. And in this case, it makes the most sense instead of trying to get consensus without cards. So we're going to activate the moon. So now that we know what the game is about, the story is about, we want to know who you want to be in it. So we come up with what we call a role. And in 2 to 3 words, approximately, you want to come up with a person, place, or thing. Or I should say person or thing, not really place. I haven't had anybody do that yet. I'm going to be Central Park, but and give it at least an adjective or two. So maybe you're going to be like the epic space pirate, or the disillusioned space pirate, or the draconic space captain, or maybe you want to be like a attorney with the heart of gold, or idealistic visionary, or let's see. Elf poser. Like, the real trick is that a lot of times in a word or two, someone's going to come up with a profession or a trope, and that's cool. But we're trying to get at least one word that kind of says a little bit about their personality. And when you come up with it, just say it out loud because it'll help inspire other people.
I am the. Oh.
I just gonna say, but we know we're activating the moon.
I am the watchful spirit of the wind.
Ooh, wow, that's a really good one. You can tell she's played before.
I wrote down the retired mechanic.
Nice. Okay. Think about so like retired's good enough, but if you want to add anything else to it, we're just trying to kind of zero in on what you're going for. That's what the role is, right?
This is the first time I've tried to play something not human.
Yeah, it could be really great. We have a game we recorded like a month ago called Free the Elements. Yeah, and it was a little bit like that. They were kind of like, well, one of them was like a golem, and one of them was a rock.
Mm.
The rock had to be carried around and was a part of a necklace and all kinds of stuff.
Let's see. More difficult than I thought.
No, it's fine. So in a story of activating the moon, who did you hope to be? Were you thinking an astronaut? Were you thinking some kind of alien?
Yeah.
A robot, an android, you know?
I really wasn't sure. I just thought that would be something fun.
Maybe you're some kind of superstitious fool who wants to activate the moon for some purpose, you know? Maybe you are the living embodiment of the moon or another moon. Or maybe you're some displaced avatar.
I just think maybe just something even simpler, like a accident-prone archaeologist.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, I like that.
So we have a accident-prone archaeologist. We have a retired.
How about a crazed retired mechanic?
Crazed retired mechanic. And Morgan, what were you again?
The watchful spirit of the wind.
Okay, the watchful spirit of the wind. All right. So step 3, this whole process we call dream mapping, right? We're kind of like giving me, the guide, an idea of what the story is and kind of breaking into chapters and making sure that characters all have the goal in mind. So think of with your character, just like that dream that we did before, think of a short sentence that's achievable that kind of states what you want to get out of this story or the coolest thing that could happen in this story. Like, we have to activate the moon. One example we mentioned earlier is maybe someone wants to pet a cat. Maybe the spirit of the wind wants to become the person of the wind. Maybe the crazed retired
mechanic.
Yeah. Maybe you want to become unretired, or you still have something to prove. Or maybe you want to prove that you're not crazy. I don't know. So again, in a short sentence, no compromise, no vote to this one. What do you want to get as a player out of this story of activating the moon? And these become kind of like chapter goals. And while you're thinking, I'm going to take my notes.
How many should we think of?
Just one.
Okay.
The length of the game is what dictates how many of these per player you get.
Okay.
So if you play campaign play, I mean, maybe you had 4 or 5 players or something. Maybe each character would have 2 or 3 of these. And in a sneaky way, you kind of snuck in how long of a game this is or how long of a campaign, because each one of those could be a session.
Okay.
Would be the easiest way to play. But, if you play like Saturdays and you play for like 8 hours or something like I used to, then yeah, you'd probably get like half your campaign done or something. Yeah. I try to make it so, right. Yeah. Yeah. Back when I was, 15 and
easy life.
Yeah. It's funny too when you think about stuff like that. Like, I mean, I say when I was 15, but it's not. It's like harder to be 15 now. You know, like there's so many distractions and so much to do, and you're connected to everybody and everything. And
My 15 was playing Halo 2 and my buddy's bedroom where, we're back to back with the old like tube TVs and LAN parties.
Yeah, those TVs were huge too, and so heavy. It's
Oh,
funny when I
was like one of those small ones with the VCR.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay, and then as you guys think of these, and girls, of course, just say them out loud, because again, we're all about collaborating and inspiring.
Mine is avenge a betrayal.
We want to avenge a betrayal in our story of activating the moon. Avenge a betrayal.
I wrote down to trust again.
To trust again. Not trush. I don't know what trush is. To trust again.
I'm a crazy mechanic, not a drunk one.
And
I've got to have a career-making discovery.
Career-making discovery. Okay. Career-making discovery. All right. So I'm going to say them again out loud. We are trying to activate the moon. Along the way, we are going to avenge a betrayal. We're going to learn to trust again. And we are going to have a career-making discovery. So of those three things, which one do we think happens first? Anybody? Which one do you think happens first?
I'd say discovery.
Yeah.
Okay.
That possibly could lead us to how to activate the moon.
We're going to start our story with having a career-making discovery. And I didn't hear Lucid there. So, Lucid, why don't you tell us, what do you think happens next? Are we going to avenge a betrayal, or are we going to learn to trust again?
I think to get everybody on board to really trying to activate it, everybody's going to have to learn to trust.
All right. To trust again. And then obviously, last but not least, that leaves us to avenge a betrayal. Okay. And let me delete that and move that over. All right. So each of you, pull out your character sheets if you haven't already, digitally or, in real life. When you pull up the sheet, you'll see that it's got some step-by-step instructions in the top right. Making sure, no questions, right? Everyone's got one? Okay. So with the step-by-step instructions, we're just going to walk right through them. So there's bubble number 1. That's the dream. So over there, you're going to write, activate the moon. And if you're already an overachiever, you go to step 2. And in step 2, you're going to write your role, which is, crazed, retired, and, spirit of the wind, and, yada, yada. So, and then number 3, it's going to say milestones. And that's what you told me here. Have a career-making discovery, to trust again, avenge a betrayal. But just write yours.
Hi, Sout.
Hello. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Dude, I am sorry. I totally slipped. Do you still need someone or no?
We're good, unless you want to jump in.
Maybe if you guys want me to. I don't mind.
I want you to.
All right. Yeah, so we're having cams on, huh? It's a little bit dark here. Let me turn on my light first, then I'll get situated. One moment.
So it's worth mentioning, you are right now on YouTube. Not that we have a ton of people watching right this second, but, just don't show us anything like, have clothes on, preferably, or have the light on your room really dark.
I left, so I didn't know what you were saying.
Well, that's perfect. So everyone knows. I had a disclaimer. He just might not have heard it. So, okay, moving right along.
I think I have to rejoin, so I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. But I'll just hop in whatever you guys are doing. It's cool.
Okay, cool. So write your milestones. And after you write your milestone, we're going to go into tags, which should be step 4. So tags are just a word or short phrase that describes your character, describes what you're going for with your character. So, for example, Jeremy, you mentioned you wanted someone crazed. You wanted someone retired. If you want the game to mechanically reinforce one of those two things, or maybe that you're strong or grizzled or, knowledgeable. You want to write these down, and the game is going to help us reinforce these qualities about your character.
Okay.
But they can be personality. One of the fun things is they can even be generally negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to be
hideous,
deceitful, a cheapskate.
I was going to say stubborn.
Stubborn, sure.
Are we using online sheets?
Yeah. Go to the Discord.
Okay. I'll look around.
Are we allowed to have a tag and when we get to that point, strategy be the same?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing when you do that is that, so tags aren't your tools for getting stuff done. So like Lucid, you haven't played. When you go to do anything, the next step we're going to have is making these strategies. So it kind of plays like a skill-based game. You're going to say, I'm going to go do this. And I'm going to say, okay, well, which one of your strategies fits this situation? And it's either going to be a good fit or a bad fit. And that's going to determine other stuff too. But when you roll and you fail, you're going to go, hey, Pete, but wait, my character's strong. So I should have been able to pick that up. I mean, I'm not some average Joe. And we're going to look at your tags. And if it says strong, I'm going to say, okay, well, that makes sense. Well, then re-roll. So that's kind of how the tags play. They just reinforce things your character is supposed to be.
So what's our dream?
Our dream is to activate the moon.
Activate the moon? Oh my god. And is there like, maybe because I'm new to this whole Google's Hangout, is there like a spot that has everyone's role listed or?
No, we could throw out banners and stuff. I actually slacked. I was going to sneak that in while we were talking, but
oh my bad. I'm not trying to make you look bad, Pete. I hope I'm not being intrusive. I just like, crap, it's 9:30. There's all like a shit day going downstairs. So it's like, oh no. So. I'm
really jealous though. You have you're the only camera that's perfect. No, everyone's looks fine.
I used to stream, so I set up my I do. If we can hold a hangout, I can help set things up for you later.
I'm like, everyone else looks good. But you're like shaming all of us right now.
No, it's not a competition. It's not a competition. We're all superstars here.
Yeah, figures. Sout walks in 30 minutes late, and he's like, "Look at my sweet cams."
Well, I thought you were gonna hit me up on the Discord, right? So I was waiting, and then I got distracted. And I'm in a hex tournament, but that's not a big deal, right?
So what you're telling me is we're second fiddle.
No, I love it.
I see how it is, Sout.
No. I love the game and I love you guys, all right? So anyways, I'm not trying to detract. I need to know what roles you guys are so I can kind of know what role I'm going to be. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Jeremy, why don't you start? What's your role?
My role is the crazed retired mechanic.
Okay.
Okay, and the Lucid?
Had a accident-prone archaeologist.
And I am the watchful spirit of the wind.
We're going to activate the moon, so I think we're going to need some kind of pilot. Right?
Sure.
That sounds...
He's totally going to be a dragon.
No.
Don't you do it.
I don't... I'll do it if you guys want me to. Don't go antagonizing. I wasn't going to do it, but no.
I like that Reezy that's what she caught out of it, too. She's like, yeah, I heard the part where you said no dragons.
Huh? Who said no dragons?
Well, I call her Reezy, but I think it's Reese. But she's got the Twitch stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they have dragons.
I know, but she listened to the last game and she was like, I heard that part about the no dragons. She doesn't know the inside joke about Confusion, where every game had somebody with a dragon.
So I didn't know about the Viking game, right? So was that said during the Viking game?
Yeah, it was in the Viking game.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's hilarious. Maybe.
And the Viking game ended up having dragons in it.
Yeah, I read the story though, so it makes it funny. No dragons, huh? I'm feeling persecuted. So I'm gonna be some kind of pilot. But I'm trying to think of like
you pilot
I'm
dragons.
The last. Well, that's actually I had a. You're kind of beating me to it. So help me with the word. I want to be the last resort pilot. You guys basically couldn't get anyone else to do this crazy scheme you guys are doing to activate the moon. So I'm
the
that
Plan
pilot.
Z pilot.
Pretty much.
So you gotta be that the pilot that's you gotta be broke, right? You gotta have no money, the crappy ship,
Exactly. That's what I was going for. Like, yes.
Disheveled or dirty, or maybe you're not trusted. Maybe you're socially awkward, or
You're like the World War II vet pirate or something.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I'll be a pilot, basically. I'll figure out what kind of pilot in a moment.
While he's working on that, so tags, just to make sure everyone's got an idea what we're doing. Jeremy, what do you got? You get to have up to 3 of these.
I have stubborn, withdrawn, but intelligent.
Okay. And Lucid, how about you?
Right now I've got accident prone and educated.
Awesome. And Morgan?
All-seeing, incorporeal, and bipolar.
I was waiting. I'm like, the spirit of the wind is kind of it has to have some unique ones, right? Okay. And what was the third one?
Bipolar.
Bipolar. That's probably a perfect fit. I never would have thought of that. Okay. So, and Sout, he's run the game a bunch of times, so he can catch up.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So, strategies. So, step 5 is strategies. You'll see that in the sheet, there's 2 columns in front of each one of these categories that are like best and the legend and skilled and stuff. So, reading left to right, let's say best, it'll say 7 next to it, which is kind of like your target number on the D10. You want to roll under it. And then to the right of that, there's 2 columns that are blank. So you get 3 strategies. You make these up. They could be things like, stealth, espionage, underwater basket weaving, negotiation, your puppy dog eyes, flexing, throwing money at your problems, being good-hearted, using your puppy dog eyes. These are meant to be the skills, knowledges, magics, reputations, attributes, and sometimes even the equipment that you have that you want to be how you solve your problems. Like maybe you have a jetpack and you don't know how to fight, but when you go to fight, you're going to say, Pete, I'm going to use my jetpack strategy because I'm just going to hit that thruster and hold my fist out.
Oh.
You popped out and you popped right back in.
I don't understand this Google Hangout stuff.
So does it matter which column we write our strategies in, or is it more of like we can have 2 best, we can have 2 expert, 2 skilled, and so forth?
You get 3. You can put them anywhere you want, but not at legend. That's why it's grayed out.
Sometimes people like to make a character that kind of like sucks because it's about character growth. Like, I don't know how to explain it, right? Like, help me out here, Pete. You know what I'm talking. Some
Sure.
people like to explain, like, well, what would it be like
Some
to like
person can
be
put
off?
their skill. Some people would put their skills all purposely really low, as if they have a character that cannot do anything specifically well, and they enjoy playing a character that is that way.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll get like, hey, I'm the kid who plays Magic the Gathering at the game store, but I'm in this story about activating the moon. So it'll be like I'm a beginner at like, CCG strategies. I'm like an expert at like collecting, and I'm like, skilled at like riding a bike. And then we've also had people who, for example, instead of saying like I am an expert at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we've had people be like, I am a skilled green belt. So they like specifically said, I am really skilled at a mediocre level. So making distinctions, right? Obviously, like Inspector Gadget, he'd be a character that'd be a beginner inspector. He'd probably be a beginner at like Interpol knowledge, but he would be like an expert of being like a bumbling idiot or being oblivious. And then when he goes to solve problems, the player's gonna explain to me how he's just oblivious to what's really going on and bumbles his way through, and that's how he solves the problem that's going on. And then as you come up with them, just throw them out there.
So I have 2 right now. I'm thinking because I am a crazed retired mechanic who is intelligent, so his mechanical repair he's probably pretty good at that.
Sure.
I don't know if I should put it best or expert. I feel like
There's no wrong way. There's no wrong way.
All
You
right,
can
so
decide. That's what makes it cool. Like, if you want to make sure your rolls don't fail, you want to put it at the best. But like, it's like, what kind of character are you trying to build? You know, like some dude was like one of these other games that was playing. I hope I'm not interjecting too much. But like, he wanted to make like a Fabio character. He's dude, I'm gonna be the best at flexing, and he used it for everything. He used it to seduce. He used it to intimidate. Like he used it for every. It was just hilarious.
but then I have his because he's very withdrawn and stubborn. I have made a personable strategy, so when he deals with people,
Yeah.
he's a beginner at that.
Yeah, exactly. Some previous examples or stuff out of the book is maybe you're going to use your TV show knowledge. Hey, well, I saw this on such and such, and it worked for him. Maybe you're a mooch.
I watched MacGyver.
Yeah. We've had plenty of people do that too, like MacGyvering.
Spotting random facts. That was another
Yeah.
good skill. So I only have one tag so far in 2 strategies because you guys got me brainstorming.
Yeah.
So I so far have the best at hitting things to make them work. Like you hit the TV and it starts to work. Like it shouldn't, but it just does. And I'm a skilled negotiator. But my current tag is doubtful. Like I don't know how. Like, is this a sci-fi? Because I don't know how far in the future we are. We're not there yet, right? Okay,
I don't know, like everyone's sci-fi but my character, so I feel like I screwed something up.
No.
The fun to the
That's
story.
Yeah,
The
we
DM
have
will
no
add
idea
you,
what
you
the
know?
moon activating is going to be or what it's going to entail. It might be nothing sci-fi about that part. We don't.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, it might not even be our moon. It could be a moon, like different planet.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to like figure out. Like the tags. I'm trying to like what kind. I'm a reluctant pilot. That's what I am. I'm like, okay, I need the money.
So for my third one, I'm a skilled drinker.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
You know,
where-
when personable doesn't work out, you can always drink with them. So
who knows what kind of well, my mom used to be a bartender. She said the real person comes out when they're drunk. So maybe that's where I start trusting people is after 12 shots down.
Ooh. And Lucid, you got anything so far?
Yeah, my sheet just blanked out. It's coming back now. Kind of weird. For strategies, for the best, I have dumb luck, where
Nice.
I'm picturing it like, he almost gets hit by a car, he falls backwards and spills his drink, and as it does, it lands in the face of the guy who just robbed the purse, so he catches the criminal, Or he's found a lot of hidden rooms by tripping over something and breaking through a wall or something like that, I'm picturing like an Indiana Jones who's like totally inept but stupidly lucky at his job.
That it does. Go gadget arm. Yeah. Sorry, we're reading the chat.
Wait, there's a chat? Where's that?
If you it should be on the left of your screen. If you hover
my
above it,
God.
some options will pop up, and that top
Cool.
left icon.
We
is,
have like fans
chat.
already watching us. Oh my god. I actually, because I joined late, if anyone out there that's watching wants to throw out like a tag idea or a strategy, I am more apt to include it. I could be more zany for the group.
Sure. It's funny.
Throwing that out there.
Okay. Morgan, do you have any?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I am the best at my quote-unquote physical form, just like a mini tornado thing. I'm an expert at wrath, and I'm a beginner at wisdom.
Yes.
You're a beginner at what?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Sorry, that was just classic for her her role. Expert at wrath. Okay. Am I having technical difficulties?
Oh, I think someone out there's something. Okay, so I'm gonna be a beginner rapper.
Whoa.
Oh God.
That's how he makes his extra money.
Exactly. So now that I know what my strategy is, now I can have some better tags. So I'm doubtful, but what's like air in the clouds kind of tag? Like Head in the Clouds.
An
Like,
airhead?
Yeah, daydreamer.
Daydreamer. Like I daydream all the time about just rapping. Like I doubt it all the time I'm ever gonna get there, but I daydream about it. I just need one more time. I'll get there though. I'll get there.
Yeah. For my third tag, I ended up putting great at running away.
Awesome.
Nice.
You're running away.
Strategy I added at skilled. I put like exploit weakness based on like how many things he's accidentally broken. He's learned to spot flaws in things to break them.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Sounds like for the most part we're ready to move on. Let me know if you have any questions. So what we move on to next is number 6 is soul skills. So we alluded to a minute ago that you in the game you're going to roll 2d10 to do for every roll in the game. Every roll except for one, you're going to roll 1 die for your strategy and 1 die for a soul skill. So we're going to frame your strategy, and your strategy is either going to be a perfect fit for the situation or it's going to be a stretch. If it's a perfect fit, it's going to be a reasonable use of it using the reason soul skill. If it's a stretch, it's going to be an imaginative use, which is imagine. So how that works is we're going to assign number values to imagine and reason. And one of these dice is going to have to roll under that score, while the other die rolls under your strategy score. And each one of them could give you a success or a failure. So to get 2 successes, you would, whatever you visualize we were storytelling to what happened actually goes well. If you get 1 success, you succeed, but there is some kind of a catch, whether you find out immediately or later on. If you get 2 failures, not only did it not work out for you, but things escalate, they get worse. We have new problems. So you get 10 points to split between imagine and reason. You could do 5 and 5. You could do 3 and 7, any which way you want. Everything in the game is on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 is the worst and 10 is the best because you roll under. And 4 is generally the average in every situation. So.
Should we say our scores once we write them down?
You don't have to, unless you want to make sure you're doing it right. As long as it's 5, 5, 3, 7, 9, 1, something like that.
So Pete, I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Could you do 10 and 0?
You could do 9 and 1.
Let's check, because someone did ask that at a game once, but
yeah. You tell them you do 9 and 1 and you like it.
Well then.
Okay. But effectively it's the same because, there's just rules that say that if you roll a 10 always fails and a 1 always succeeds. So it just kind of.
Well, that's what I was asking because they said, well, could I have it at 10 and then have it at 0 because 1's always succeeds. So they were trying to game the system. Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is effectively it's the same as a 1 and a 9. I just wanted to make sure people always had a 1 and, they didn't have zeros. Okay. So after that, we go to health. Health, there's mind, body, and spirit. It's on the right side of the sheet. You won't have to deal with these unless we see challenges, dramatic, extra tense situations that help us sort of fight bosses or, activate the moon under a lot of stress. When these situations happen, you could be knocked out, defeated, beaten up, discouraged, maybe forced to run away, something like that. So your mind is any task where you're trying to outsmart things, outstudy, do research, the legwork to solve problems. Body's pretty obvious, right? Fighting your way through it, running, enduring, that kind of stuff. Spirit is all conversation and manipulation. And also matters of will, like willpower, determination. So whichever one of those you sort of lean on to solve your problems, you probably want to be pretty good at. And whichever ones you don't, it's okay if they suffer a bit. So you get 12 points for those 3, which could put you at a 4 in each, which I said is average in most situations. This is a category where if you have like a 9 or a 10, it really won't matter in a one shot. If you have a 1 or a 2, you may be easily wiped out, but if it comes to that. So any questions? All right. Moving right along, we got relationships. So relationships, it's a short game, so we're just going to do 2 each. One of them has to be another player, and one of them can be any person, place, or thing you want. You'll see labels there that say things like true love, intimate, close. You get to choose that stuff. It only tells me how close of a bond you want with that individual. Like a casual, I think casual is the lowest one. Like maybe there's a villain,
Contact is
bad guy. Thanks, contact. So, like Batman would probably be intimate with the Joker. But if you just wanted to say, hey, the Batman knows where the Joker is, and I want the Joker in the story, you could add it as a contact. Same could be said for a sheriff and a mob boss or, something like that. These can be things, right? It could be like Walking Dead. Negan has Lucille, his baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. And that could make him feel powerful or a badass or give him authority. So I'm leading into the second part. You pick person, place, or thing. You assign it to true love or whichever relationship bond you prefer. And then you give it a tag. And that's the mechanical benefit out of it. Why is it valuable to your character? And, 1 to 2, 3 words, short as you can. Maybe one of you knows the retired mechanic because, he was your mentor. Or maybe you know him because he gives you scraps. Maybe he feeds you. Maybe he's a good storyteller. And this just tells me why you appreciate each other. Questions?
I'm gonna have to figure out all the characters again so I can figure out who's. I got one of them though. I got Sarah.
With the characters, it's worth mentioning you don't have names yet, so you're just going to use a key word out of that role, like mechanic, archaeologist, spirit.
I was thinking being close to the pilot. We'll say I've helped repair your old ship.
I put close for me. I made a computer AI called Sarah. It's going to stand for like computer something with the E, relay, artificial intelligence. And then the tag is that it grounds me. But I got to figure out who to put as my, one of you guys. So I'm thinking maybe the spirit, but I don't know.
I just love that you said something with an E.
Because there's an acronym, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm thinking of this on the fly, so.
No, you're good. It's funny.
I'll give it to the people watching. I said if they can come up with a good acronym for this, I'll run with it.
Nice. All right.
I think I'm gonna put the spirit, but I gotta figure out what's the benefit, right? Because we get a benefit from this tag, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can pull it into the story, you can possibly help you re-roll when you fail at something. So. Which it sounds like if you have some kind of AI that helps you pilot in some way or helps you.
I put the tags that grounds me. Like if my third tag was PTSD. So I narrowed my pilot better. I fleshed them out. So I put reluctant pilot. That's like my role. But to make it a little bit better, I sit from the Great War.
Yeah.
From the Great War. So what could that mean? I don't know. It could also been maybe like I believe that was a war. I don't know. I'm giving that to the DM. Oh no. So, spirit tag. Actually, your spirit's like invisible, right?
I am the wind. My physical form is like this sort of like mini tornado-ish thing.
Let me put that it cools me down then. You're the wind. I don't realize you're the spirit. That's why you're like my contact. That makes sense. It's a hot day and you just always get cooled down.
So for our other relationships, so we have to choose someone in the group, and what was the other thing?
You pick someone. One is another player, right? And the other one is a person, place, or thing that you want to have important to your character and the story. So, it could be your mom. It could be Central Park. It could be your tank or your Pokeballs or your...
I have a wrench. That's my true love is my wrench. It's
yes.
Tool.
Yeah.
It has helped me fix everything.
It could be the Great War. It could be the Book of the Dead. It could be archaeology. F yeah. It's just...
No sense, but it sounded good.
Certified excellent ride accelerator. Nice.
Nice. It sounds like, you know what I love about it? It sounds like a knockoff model.
Yeah,
Like that's perfect.
like
Like it sounds like I bought that from China or something, you know? Like
you couldn't afford a Cortana for your ship or something. It's like
exactly.
yeah,
So they don't have Cortana, they have Seta. And it's like, yeah, I need this for my ride. When I'm sleeping, you know? It's the future possibly. Or maybe it's modern day. That makes sense, right? Self-driving cars, self-driving ships.
Okay. So what do we got so far? Who's got either one or both of theirs?
Relationships?
Yeah.
I got both.
Okay. What you got?
I'm close with the AI because
Okay.
and I spent all my money on it to make sure I had it. So
and we called it Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which apparently stands for Certified Excellent Ride Accelerator.
Nice.
And then I put the Spirit as my contact, and it cools me down. I figured, hey, if it somehow gets hot, which probably won't on the moon, but we'll see, right?
Spirit cools me. Okay. What's that tag for Sarah again?
Grounds me.
Grounds me. Cool.
Like if I'm having a PTSD episode. I don't know.
No, that's good. And then anybody else?
I have both as well.
All right. Hit me.
I have Intimate is the spirit of the earth, which is a bitter rivalry. And I get determination from that.
Ooh, determination. Okay.
And my true love is the pilot.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And I get momentary peace from that.
Peace.
Interesting. Contact, true love. Interesting. Is this funny? Makes sense.
Okay. What about Lucid or Jeremy?
I have for my true love is my wrench,
That's right.
and the tag I have for it is its comfort.
Okay.
It's always been there for me.
Comfort. It ain't no normal wrench.
Nope, that ain't no normal wrench. And then I am actually I had the pilot, but I'll go with I'm close with the archaeologist.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say the tag is frustration because he has broken a lot of stuff that I had to fix.
Okay. Frustration. See, and the cool thing is actually, so you might be in a fight sometime and swinging your wrench around mad, and then you roll and it doesn't succeed, and you could explain how your frustration with him is making you hit harder or hit more true, or maybe that he's getting in the way, and by doing so he actually makes you hit people easier because he's blocking their escape, even though you're pissed at him for being in the way. But so it's just a little play on how you'll be able to use it. The frustration will be the reason that you'll use to describe White House. So it's fine. What about Lucid?
For true love, I have ancient mysteries. I don't know.
Nice.
Tags can be more than one word, right?
Yeah.
Just finding the truth, I guess.
Truth.
I don't know if. And for casual, I was thinking the pilot, like maybe a couple times in some really bad situations in certain places. It kind of helped me fly out of danger. I don't know how to tag that though exactly.
Escape danger, yeah. And it's kind of a nice thing about these is that, I mean, as long as we're on the same page, it doesn't even matter what the word is, right? Okay. So we got those. Last but not least, we have belongings. So belongings have zero mechanical benefit other than you have them. And that's pretty awesome. So come up with at least one item for your character, up to 3. These are the kinds of things that you would have to explain why you would have them normally, and you're explaining them by just putting them on your sheet. Anything otherwise that's typical of the character you were going for, I'm going to assume you have or have access to, unless you put yourself in a remote location or something. But, if you want to say I have the Book of the Dead for some reason, or I have some strange alien artifact, or I have some, prototype bounce shoes, I have the moon fragments or the spirit of the sun in this sphere. Anything. A $20 million blind trust, Pokeballs, a pet Gaiju. I have a Voltron that I jump into the center of, and then it breaks into 5 robot cats.
Why'd you have to give me the ideas?
So
now you got me adding something. Good job, Pete.
they can also be simple things like if you.
No, too late. I'm kidding.
For example, I always have a torch. I always have an eye patch. I don't care if like my clothes get burned off. There's still the eye patch. So maybe you always have a golden Zippo, or it can be iconic stuff too.
All right, I got 2 things.
Cool.
I got my wrench, because that it goes everywhere I go.
Skip that one because you get it for the relationship.
I do. Okay. Well, in that case, right now I just have an oversized flask of booze.
Oversized flask of booze, right?
Kind of like a Rick and Morty. Like I'm always, it's always pulls out the flask.
Sure.
But it's oversized, right?
Oh,
does it go on like in your back? Like
you
it's
go like a TJ Maxx or something. You get those like ones that are like the huge ones where you're just like, you might as well just have a bottle. It's for some odd reason I'm carrying that around.
Okay. And as you think of them, just tell me what you got. And you only need 1, but you can have up to 3.
I got 1.
Okay, what you got?
So my ship, obvious.
Yeah.
But I named it Dragon. Duh. I had to at least, it might not be a dragon, but at least the dragon's in there, right? So its name it's like the dragon ship, right? But it can turn into a battle mech in case it's needed. That's what Servo's there for, is to like augment, so it can pilot while I'm battling. Because I can't do both.
Awesome.
I have the map to the Temple of Mana, which has been floating around on the winds for eons.
Oh.
Temple of Mana, right?
Oh.
Okay.
So
What else?
Got a mag light, one of the extended handles that can double as like a nightstick.
Yes.
Duct tape, because I break a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then my trusty pickaxe that's made from like a reinforced fossilized spine of a stegosaurus that I call Stego.
Ooh, Stego. Okay. Excellent. Okay. The rest of you, anything else you think of? Okay. You have at least till we finish vision rolls to add anything else if you want.
Crap, how do we roll?
Yeah, you're going to want to go find some dice. Or you could, roll them on something else.
Okay.
You could find an app or something. But we're going to do that in a minute. Everyone come up with a name, or at least start thinking of your character name. And then after that, we're going to do this thing called vision rolls. So find your dice. And if you have any questions about your character sheet, go ahead and shoot now while people are doing these things. Okay. Do we have any names already? Did anybody cheat and do this earlier?
Mm-hmm.
I have a name.
Cheater. Go ahead.
It is Zephyr, which actually means gentle wind.
Awesome.
What the?
I was thinking of maybe doing a classic Rusty Shackelford.
Oh my god.
What did you say before? How did you preface it? You said, I was thinking about the common name of Rusty Shackelford.
The classic Rusty Shackle.
There you go. I was like, I've never heard that before. So I mean, it is now classic.
You never heard Rusty Shackleford before?
No. It is now a classic. Lucid, what about you? If you need to admit it, no big deal. Like I totally get it. Names.
I'm thinking Hank Wyoming Johnson. The cat was named Wyoming.
Oh my god! God, you guys are gonna hate me, but not maybe.
Oh no!
Boomhauer. It just works out so perfect.
Awesome.
That's why I'm a rapper too.
Oh, no.
Howard Davis. I don't know. I ain't been in that last name. Brad Davis is fine.
So everybody, go and find your dice, pull out your dice, or hit your dice app. You're going to roll the 2d10. They are going to be, one is going to be, this is the one unique roll of the game. One is going to be for your imagine. The other one's going to be for your reason. And you're going to want to roll those dice under those numbers. Each one that is under is a success. Each one that is equal to or over is a failure. And just tell me how many successes you get.
Wow, I actually got 2 successes.
Excellent.
Surprisingly.
One
I
here.
0 successes.
Okay. Morgan, I appreciate that.
2 successes.
Okay. So what this does is it kind of creates a turn order for us to give you each an opportunity to influence the story. What I also get out of it is that I can kind of gauge your interest some more of where we could go or what we could do. And it's also kind of supplementing what I have planned for the game, hearing you make your characters. So what we do here is I go from least to greatest successes. So I'm going to go 0s, then 1s, then 2s. I'm just going to go clockwise. And then I'm going to ask each player 2 questions. One is as the player to influence the story. And the second one is to kind of get you in the head of your character. So we start with Morgan. So our story is about activating the moon. The first chapter in our story is to have a career-making discovery. So as a player, what's stopping us? Meaning she can tell me anything. It's not about her character, or it's just about her as a player being like, hey, it'd be cool if this was stopping us. Why can't we make a career-making discovery, Morgan?
Mortal beings have no such wisdom.
Ooh, lack wisdom. I love what you said, though. You said something about mortal beings. So lack. Gosh, I'm just going to put infinite in parentheses for me, so I know what I think. Infinite wisdom. And if your character had helped people make a career-making discovery, but they lacked the wisdom because they were mere mortals, how would you go about helping them get the wisdom they need?
I would give them the wisdom they need or provide them with it so long as they actually trusted in me and believed I actually existed.
You have it. You would give it to them, but yada, 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 yada. They have to earn it and that. Okay. So what we heard here is that she thinks to have a career-making discovery, we just have to figure out how to get these mere mortals the appropriate wisdom. To do that, she would say that, hey, my character could give it to them if I chose to. So we give each player a tag that kind of reflects what they responded as an answer, that kind of characterizes the kind of traits of a person like that. So when you have 0 successes, I make it up. When you have 1 success, all the other players make it up. When you have 2 successes, you make it up. While I said it should reflect the thing, that the part of who gets to decide, it's really up to them. They can help you or they could hurt you. It's just up to them. So in your case, I think that you should be conceited because obviously that's a little more fun. If you could bestow this knowledge upon them, if only they praised you, if only they worshipped
Praise
you,
the wind.
if they only recognized your authority. Okay, so that's 0, and then we move on to 1s. Anybody have 1 success?
Yes.
All right, Sout, you heard what she said. So you could piggyback, you could say, I like what she said, or you could go in a whole different direction. What's stopping us from making a career-making discovery or having a career-making discovery?
More choices in life.
Poor choices in life.
It could be poor choices or poor circumstances.
Sure. And if your character had to help people overcome their poor choices in life, what would your character do?
I would be like the living proof of what they should and shouldn't do. Like, I'm like, trust me, look at my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be like that person, like, huh?
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. I said, hey man, look, I've been down that road. I would, I guess, maybe I would rap to them. I don't know.
Okay. I put role model, but it's something like that. But you would try to be like, I'm not your role model.
Right. Don't do what I did.
Don't do what I did. Yeah. Okay. So he had one success. So what kind of a character would try to show other people that their poor choices in life couldn't be worse than his poor choices?
They shouldn't.
Bad example.
I character's almost kind of like Chris Farley, living in a van down by a river kind of character, like smoking boobies,
In
like,
what kind of a person would that be? That would be a. So if you put it into a word or a phrase, maybe you'd say a dopey character or dumb. What do you guys think?
I say bad example.
A bad example.
Living in the past.
Living in the past.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
And there's no wrong answer.
You guys got to give it to me. So
Lucid, what do you think?
I think the kind of the nostalgic thing works.
Right.
Nostalgic for the better days or whatever. Living in the past.
Jeremy, you happy with that? That's kind of like, living in the past. Yes, it's out taking nostalgic. All right, moving right along. So Jeremy's is my clockwise person, so he'll go first. So you've heard what they said, but you've heard them talk about having to give wisdom, of having to model their own choices. So you've also, as a player, heard, okay, we're going to do a lot of talking. We're going to do a lot of explaining who we are and why this matters. So if you as a player are like, I want to beat somebody up, you might start talking about that and try to get that kind of more into the story. But that's kind of how I read it as the game master. So what's stopping us from having a career-making discovery?
I will be right back.
Go for it.
I just feel like there's no agreements. Like,
no agreements.
It's just everyone thinks it's black and white. There is a gray area, and it's this or it's this.
Oh, I like that you said gray area. Okay, if your character had to deal with no agreements, that it's either one way. Sorry, I'm trying to say things that aren't political, right? I mean that's what you're dealing with right here. Is you're dealing with two sides who are saying my answer's right, your answer's wrong, and if you can only get them to work together, we could have a career-making discovery. So in your case, how would your character try to bridge that gap?
Hit over the head with a wrench, no.
Or work around it, right? Yeah, I mean,
get them drunk.
Get them drunk. Okay. And since you came up with this, you get to give yourself a tag that you think might help you in this have a career-making discovery part. Of course, looking at the answers so far, you have a little bit more of an idea of some of the direction we might go in.
So, all right.
Yeah. And then last but not least, Lucid, what's stopping us from having a career-making discovery?
Well, we've got a lot of people like kind of almost at odds, I guess, or not very helpful at the moment. But there's also the secret cultists plotting against the uncovery of it.
The cults. I don't know why you said that. I'm like, cult of uncovery. Okay. So if your character had to deal with all these people at odds in this cult of uncovery, for lack of a better term, of course, what would your character do to try to to make a career, have a career making discovery anyway.
I mean, in all likelihood, it would luck into it somehow, and just striving to find this discovery accidentally, like discovers the cultists or something to shine light on their plots or something like that.
Okay, so in your case, think of a tag that kind of reflects that, or you think will be awesome to have in this sort of a career-making discovery that might have a lot of people at odds and poor choices and a lack of infinite wisdom. Okay. Anybody need a bathroom break or grab water or anything? Go do it, and then we're going to start. So.
No, but I have something funny about that cult.
Yeah, what you got?
I figure like their cult could just be like called the Cult of No.
The Cult of No.
Like people try to get the career change, they're like, no, we got to stop this. No, it's just funny though. I'm in my head. It got me laughing.
Well, you know, it's cool. We'll just add an H to it. It's the Cult of No.
Eat. I'm not good at douchey, man.
I'm glad you dropped in. That's good.
I mean, I really thought you would like ping me, so I wasn't sure if you even needed me. It was like, you know what? Knowing Pete, maybe I should just stop in anyways, just to see, you know? I wasn't sure if you needed another player.
I'm always happy to have you, but I know earlier you were like, hey, you know, if you need me. And since we were okay, I was like, you know, if he comes, he comes. If he doesn't, we're just going to move on.
I figured you would also tell me if you didn't need me, because you normally do.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So,
normally would have. Well, because like, right? Like Norman's like, oh, hey, Sout, we don't need you because we got, you know, plenty of players. Like, oh, okay, cool. Then it's like, shoot, you know? But no biggie, man. More than happy to play and help people learn.
And, you know, shame us with your good camera.
So
is it really bugging you?
No, I just messing with you. Like nothing better to do. What's
it's an HD?
For the tag that I'm thinking of, do I write this one under, you know, our tag section, I'm guessing?
Yeah, but you're going to use the right column. So there's a left column and a right column. You use the right column because that's where all the temporary things go, whether it's negative or this is called a vision tag.
All right.
Okay. So anybody, we don't really need that. Okay. Oh, we're just waiting on Lucid.
So I was thinking for my tag, because I did say like the gray area. So even though my guy's stubborn and withdrawn, the reason probably that is because he used to be a mediator of some sort, like, you know, his free time. So even though he's a mechanic, you know, he was that guy that was kind of like, hey, let's not fight here. But in his older age, that's kind of gone by the wayside a little.
The peacekeeper.
He was a peacekeeper. Now his big flask of booze and wrench are his peacekeepers.
Sounds like you're jaded. That's another cool thing. So, like, if he just keeps role playing, and I think he's jaded, I can be like, hey guys, I think that guy's jaded.
All right, I'm back.
Awesome. Okay, so our story begins. You all exist in a world that's not too unlike ours. We do have a spaceship, right? We have an AI. We have. Let me see. Is there anything else I should note that's odd, unlike ours? The big thing that's strange about this world, though, which we'll call it. I was gonna say Earth. Let's say it's Earth because it's kind of like Earth, except for it's a version of Earth that has been frozen in Arctic and very, very cold. Hey, it might be the future. Who knows? Yeah. So it's a world that hasn't ever known a time that wasn't sort of an ice age. And I don't mean like, like complete disaster ice age, but I just mean that, you know, a hot summer in your world is like 40 degrees. So summer's like the only time it begins to thaw out, and then it goes back. So some parts of the world actually have, you know, a part that isn't ice, but for the most part, in most parts of the world, it is generally ice, thick. I mean, snow is probably a very regular occurrence. Everyone's always known to wear thick clothing or different kinds. Maybe you might have different prototypes of like different kinds of gear, but the idea would be that everyone has to be very bundled up because you would be more adapted to cold weather. but it's just something that's an everyday thing for you. I guess it's not quite today. It's got to be a bit of an alternate version of our society, right? Because I do think that would hold us back in some ways. So we probably don't have as many people, right? We probably don't have as big as cities. We probably have like smaller places. So let's say like cities are probably more like small towns, and instead of like mega cities or something, or like huge million people places. It probably means that people are a little more outdoorsy. While you might have some technology and stuff I guess in a lot of ways, what I'm picturing is almost like a Star Wars-esque world, right? It's a little bit of a blend. Like people are still having to be laborish, even though they have technology. There's still a lot of people working hard every day. They don't have all the conveniences you'd want of what our modern day life is actually like. So you all live in a bit of a rugged alternate version of our world that has some means of technology and is a very dark and cold world. It probably has long nights and short days. And as we've already dictated in some of the relationships, a bunch of you know each other. So we have the archaeologist, who is a frustration to our retired mechanic. We have the archaeologist who does have a relationship with the pilot, because the pilot has got him out of trouble more than once. We have the pilot, who is I want to say a force of love, maybe a love interest to the spirit. And the spirit is, while you said cools you.
Right. So can I retcon that?
Yeah, sure.
I was going to say maybe because it always may be colder, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it was messing with me, right? It maybe gave me more resilient to the cold.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is that cool? I could retcon that? Resilience.
Resilience. Okay. So how we start is Boomhauer. You know where Zephyr is. Zephyr is a person that you go to. It probably helps you not just ground you like your AI does, but she is a person who allows you to sort of, I don't know, be happy and be a person that isn't this negative, bad role model, this person with poor life choices, this person who's got a busted ship with no goal, no drive, no passion, no money, no fuel. She's one of the few places where you can just kind of be happy. But the thing with her is that she is a place to you. She's not a person to you. Mm-hmm. She is a place, which is this sort of stone pedestal area. Think a little bit like Parthenon, like these pillars that is like locked in ice. She's like a cave to you. There's like a place where you go and you relax and you hang out and maybe you talk to your AI, and it's one of the few places you don't feel judged.
Yeah. I like it.
And when you look into the ice, you don't see someone looking back, but she does. So in Zephyr, when he comes to this place, which he frequents, he's the only person you know of that just generally comes here and relaxes, that hangs out, that stays here. And you can feel there's a bit of a bond. Like to you, it's as if this person knows you're here. But otherwise, the only reason he ever came in the first place is there is this archaeologist that has come digging around. And this section of this sort of cave or tunnel or whatever you want to look at it, mine, if you will, was found because he was trying to look for dig sites. He's looking to dig up remnants of the past, whatever he could to find some kind of thing to hold on to take back to his people, to say, hey, look at this. I'm worthy. I'm the archaeologist. These ancient mysteries I talk about are valuable. But he never sees you. He doesn't like this place. He always seems very frustrated here. When he comes, it's because he's hoping desperately to find something. And on occasion, you've seen this mechanic that he's brought with him. The mechanic usually comes to bring other tools to kind of help him excavate and dig and stuff. So we start with Boomhauer. Boomhauer, you're just chilling. You're waiting for
no
Rusty.
pun intended, right?
You're waiting. Yeah, you're waiting for Rusty and Hank to come. You do know they're coming today. While you just generally like to hang out, you kind of came in a little bit earlier just to kind of have your peace of mind before they come in. I have a feeling that like you and Rusty, you probably get along, but you have one of those like begrudging relations. You're probably like two old grumpy men to each other, right? like you don't hate each other, but at the same point, you don't really, you're not really super friendly. You probably like, are sarcastic and kind of
Rusty is the
rip on each other.
mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because like he always like helps me fix the ship, right?
Yeah.
But I just hit it, and it's like, see, I can do it. Don't worry about it, man. I got it.
Okay. So what I want to start with is, so Zephyr, you have not been able to like really reach out to Boomhauer, but you said that he gives you peace, that you have like a true love for this person. It's the only person that's like recognized you in like a millennia, right? Is there anything you'd want to do to kind of reach out to this person or try to get their attention or to try to get them to do anything else?
I've probably tried endless times before in a variety of different ways to try to somehow call out or create a disturbance or attract attention, and nothing has worked.
Let's see how well or how poorly it's worked. What strategies do you have that maybe you could reach out or try to get his attention with?
I have my mini tornado form.
Now your strategies, which one of your strategies?
That is one of my strategies.
Okay. And how would you use that?
I would try to become that form and use it to catch his attention, to see if he'd look at it and acknowledge it as something.
Are you making a big tornado or a little tornado?
It's like a little tornado. It's not like a full blown tornado. It's like very sort of like loose and slow spinning.
Okay. It sounds like a reasonable use of your ability, right? The only thing that's hard about getting his attention with it is it's like you're locked behind glass. You can move back here because you're kind of incorporeal, but you just can't really exit the area itself. So it's like he's got to see you in the ice.
Is she like underneath the ice?
She's like behind it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But as if a spirit who couldn't leave it.
Gotcha.
I have a double success.
Okay, well, that's a wonderful thing to have. It's worth mentioning to all the players, if you roll doubles at any time, it's a critical version of your roll. So it could be a critical success, a critical both, or critical failure. All right. So be on the lookout for having doubles. And what'd you roll, Morgan?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. All right. So, Sout, Boomhauer, the pilot. What do you do to relax in here?
I smoke.
What do you smoke?
Well, either between cigarettes or like the very, very rare weed, because apparently this world's so ice cold that, it's maybe contraband. Maybe this is why I got kicked out of the Great War. I had the PTSD.
We'll give some love to a previous game. We'll call it the Purple Leaf.
Yeah, I got that purple leaf, yo.
All right. So
today's a special occasion, So I rolled up that purple leaf. I smoke it right next to that thing, and then I blow it, right? I blow the air out. And I make little things with my mouth. And I mumble some rap while I'm doing it.
Sorry. I'm like, I know that guy.
I just made that guy up.
All right. In the smoke that's just kind of filling this cave area, it starts to make shapes in the sort of glassy ice mirror that you look at and look and see. And within, you feel as if you can see a spinning of the smoke within. But then you start to realize that it's not the smoke. It's got to be something deeper. Or at least that's what your mind's telling you.
My mind's like, well,
I don't know if this is a hallucinatory thing or not. Maybe you don't know either. But
I don't. This is the first time this has happened. I'm like, whoa.
Meanwhile, of course, we have our archaeologist who is leading our mechanic, or vice versa. One of you, mechanic, I imagine you probably have some kind of heavy machinery or tool. It could be in a cart. It could be some automated thing, a robotic thing. But you probably have some kind of way to drill, pickaxe, dig, something like that. And it's not your first day, your first rodeo. Hank, a person that you know very well, he has been keeping you working and fed. Not great, but it's better than nothing. As you are retired and you live on a modest sum, and it's something to do. So he believes these ancient mysteries he talks about will have left some semblance of truth that can enlighten the people of today with the knowledge of yesteryear. I don't know if you believe any of that, but he's keeping you fed. So outside of town, like I said, kind of a small town. You guys would have, traveled. It's like a mile outside, right? It's not too crazy far. In these sort of like we're gonna say a mine, just for lack of a better term. And as you're walking up to the cave, which you've been to before, you see the tunnel hole just billowing smoke out of it.
Have we ever seen that happen before? Or
since you know the pilot, right?
Okay.
He's helped you escape danger in the past. You probably, even as you get close, can recognize the smell, right?
Okay.
Some unique leaf that he raves about and says, helps calm him. But you do know that he generally saves it for a special occasion.
Okay. Yes, I just see just walking ahead of that, like this big map unfolded. I'm barely paying attention, just trying to read this. It's supposed to be some old world map under the ice type of stuff from some old civilization, and have something to do with the cave. And I'm just walking into it, and I don't even, I guess, really notice the smoke until I start breathing it in and just start hacking up.
Me being, just kind of like, this guy is just a pain in my, what? I'm just drinking out of my flask. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch this unfold and see him. I'm covering up my mouth. I'm just like, idiot.
I can imagine.
Stuff along.
And Rusty, you have smelled this before, but for you, it is not like a fond, favorable smell. It's that stinky, like it's sort of a bad cigar, right? That the Boomhauer, this pilot guy that hangs out sometimes, likes to smoke.
I'm just
to you, it's just this. Yeah, it's like a bad like bread or some pungent smell to you that it's not particularly great.
Like, damn kids.
I'm still walking, trying to read the map while I'm coughing, and I don't want to pay. I'm not paying any attention to what's around me though. Still trying to.
You're harshing my vibes, man.
So yeah, the two of you are kind of walking into the tunnel. He could see you guys coming if it wasn't full of smoke and it was well lit. But he'll hear you coming very soon. I mean, he's not like it's not like this elaborate tunnel system that gets him or anything. As the two of you are entering, I guess we should have some idea of if that map that you're looking at is helping you any. So why don't we have the archaeologist? What strategy would help you see if you can make sense of this map?
Strategy. Most likely it'd just be dumb luck if I bought the real deal or not.
Okay, so that's obviously an imaginative use of your. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's a reasonable use of your dumb luck, right? So let's roll reason and dumb luck.
Okay, so that's I rolled both dice, right?
Yep, and then just associate one with your strategy and one with your soul skill ahead of time.
Okay. See, soul skill failed, got a 6. Strategy succeeded, got a 5.
Okay, so as soon as you have a fail, I'm going to ask you if any of your tags could help you in this situation. Now, tags can be obviously the ones that are on your sheet. They can be the parts that are under the relationships. They could even be on other characters if you could justify how they could help you.
Probably the tag on the relationships from Ancient Mysteries on finding the truth.
All right. Even with your dumb luck, you're trying to find the truth. Okay. So why don't you re-roll the fail die and see if it succeeds?
And it's a fail again.
Okay. And one of the things that you'll see is that the game doesn't have modifiers so much as it has re-rolls. So every time you roll, it is another chance to get a critical. So just keep an eye on getting doubles, okay?
Okay.
With that, you have one success. So you're still going to have success for the bare minimum, right? That you have a goal in mind. The map is going to lead you somewhere to something, but there is some kind of consequence, whether it's not going to lead you to a great place. You're going to find something, whether you like it or not. Maybe you'll find it, but get hurt along the way. Well, there'll be something. So you do have a clear intention of what direction you want to go. And I imagine, like I said, that Shackleford has some kind of digging device. Rusty, what do you do? Obviously, you both see Boomhauer now, who is smoking. He is mumbling under his breath, otherwise known as rapping. And he is kind of making spiral smoke in different shapes.
Is there, knowing me, I probably know Rusty is, or not, I am Rusty. I know Boomhauer is probably a smoker.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna say like I'm gonna have some sort of like device or something to actually like get rid of the smoke in the area, just because I know the stuff he's smoking is not the best, and I just can't stand being around him with it. So
Okay.
I guess I'm just gonna get rid of all the smoke and just clear the area out. And
So do you have a device for this, or is there a strategy that you have that would help you have something or use something to do so?
so I'm now I know I have like some digging stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna say I'm not gonna be a mechanical repair, but I'm just gonna use. I'm gonna say I guess I can use Imagine with my mechanical repair and just like almost MacGyvering something together just to clear out the area of.
Sure. It may even have some kind of like, maybe when you use it, it needs to vent out.
Yeah.
Maybe you could like soup up the vents or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking there might even be some sort of like air compressor type of tool, like you dust off stuff and finds and things like that. Even
So in that case, that could almost be a reason with my
Yeah.
You're trying to repair the air.
repair the air. So I actually did get 2 successes.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I am
So,
the crusty old crazed guy that is just like, get this crap out of here. And after I get the smoke clear, go up to Boomhauer, grab his stuff, and like throw it on the ground. Like, not in the case.
Dude, man,
go for it.
it's expensive.
Pete, I have 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh.
So, Boomhauer, obviously he disturbs whatever the spirally, swirly thing that was kind of going on in the ice. Zephyr, you are, as you've always known, locked away. But something your character knew, but is being introduced for you as the player, is your character knows why they can't see you. The spirit of the earth has you locked away because the spirit of the earth, it thinks that if it ever lets you go, you'll never come back. So the spirit of the earth is this icy wall that won't let you out. If only they could ever dig right where you are to free you. But the spirit of the earth likes to shift and move you around this room to make sure that you aren't where you could possibly be let go. But it's a weird thing. The spirit of the earth, it's like a love thing. It's like a misguided love. It just doesn't want to let you go.
Right.
Okay. With that, so we have an archaeologist. We got some digging stuff. We got a guy who no longer smoking. What do we want to do? The map has a clear direction of where you could dig.
All right. Look at the map, kind of look around, look at the map, look around. I see the ice wall. Look at the map. Look up. Okay, we got to get through that. I'm pretty sure if I'm reading this right, turn it around, look around. Okay, I think it's through there. We got to get through there. All right, we're gonna find something this time.
Say that every time. I lean against the other wall, like a little bit, like next to the ice wall, but like if it was like perpendicular, I just lean on, like not to be in the way, but still in the way, just to be difficult.
Excellent.
I go like just draw an X where you want me to dig.
Right. All right.
Draw an X where you want me to dig.
Oh, I offered to use Sarah. It could project an X.
Okay.
It's like a little AI. So
what does it look like?
Because like this is like a really crappy future. It's supposed to float, but it's like I just attached it to my shoulder.
Okay.
Like it could obviously, it has like not Bluetooth but green tooth technology, so it could totally sync to the ship when I'm in the ship. But since I'm out right now, I said, hey Sarah, could you project an X onto this wall? It's like a Chinese. I don't know what it's saying. And
I think Sarah has a little bit of a mechanical use to it. It kind of like opens up in boxes like rays, and it kind of unfolds. And every time you acknowledge it, it says Sarah certified excellent ride accelerator, and then it always has to acknowledge its own existence.
Yes.
X as directed, and then and little green light shows a dot, and then the dot expands into an X. Rusty, I'm sorry, the X is about the size of like a quarter.
It's helping.
if you had a screwdriver, this would be perfect. But unfortunately, you have like some giant power drill that's like like it looks like a jet ski.
So I was like, well, is this the spot then? Just getting clarification. Making sure before I start drilling away.
Hank pointed you right to where it was. The X went right where he pointed. How could it not be the spot?
Well, so I will use my just for the heck of it. I was gonna roll for my mechanical and my reason, just to see if anything bad happens, possibly.
Of course, as I would have asked you anyway.
Lost the dice. All right, so I succeed on my reason, but I failed on my mechanical repair.
Okay. Any tags that would help you?
I'm gonna go say frustration with Hank.
And how does that add to the situation?
So I started drilling, and I noticed that like there must be something in that spot where it's just stopping the drill. And I grab the map and I turn it. I'm like, I am over, 2 more feet to the right. Like, just like, where'd you learn how to read? Kind of frustration. And it's just like, what are you doing here anyways?
You know where I went to school. You know where I got my education. You know where I learned to read.
Do you have like your PhD on you? Do you like just whip it out?
I have a picture of it, but not the actual thing.
Now, Zephyr, what you can see from your vantage point is the actual spirit of the earth, like a giant, like Groot-like hand on this side. It has just a fingertip that's like over the X, like as if it's just a giant hand. And that one fingertip, being the spirit of the earth, is strong enough to make it so that this guy's machine is just kind of like hitting a stud. He's like, I know, I just got to move it over a little bit. But it's almost like taunting you in the way that, effortlessly the spirit uses one giant finger. It didn't use its hand. It didn't mold its foot over it. Okay, so we have Rusty. You move the device over a little bit.
I did, and I actually rolled under.
Okay, great. So 2 successes. It starts burrowing through the wall at an accelerated rate. So Zephyr, you have a bit of an opportunity here in the way that the spirit of the earth is distracted. You have a strong feeling that while Boomhauer has no idea what happened, he saw you. He saw you for a second. At least you feel that way. What would you like to do?
I think I'd start pushing against the ice from the opposite side of the drill, trying to maybe crack the ice or shift the ice enough that it could reach the end of the drill that's trying to burrow through, unnoticed by the spirit of the earth, who is preoccupied.
Sure. So which one of your strategies would help you? How would you try to manipulate that?
Wrath.
Right? It does sound like it'd be kind of emotional, right? Given your bipolar. Sorry, that's not funny. It's only funny when you're a spirit, right? I would think spirits would be very passionate and one-track minded. Fire, fire, fire. Okay. Give me a roll. It sounds like a reasonable use of your wrath.
1 success.
Okay. Any tags?
What, sorry? You lagged out.
Any tags?
I'm bipolar.
Sure.
2 successes.
Okay, 2 successes. So the drill seems to be working a little odd in the way that it's powering through, but it almost seems like occasionally it's effortless. Occasionally it's not up against the wall. It just takes a foot deeper in. As it does this, Zephyr, you feel a moment where there's enough space. I mean, you're the spirit of the wind. There's enough. There just needs to be a hole, a gap, just enough for you to just seep right through. It's like you're like a mouse under a door. You need almost no space at all. It just has to be space at all. Do you take that opportunity? Do you take that moment to try to escape?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I didn't have to beg for that. As
Do
if
I
you
feel like
were
a gust of air?
swirling tornado that just rapidly funnels right out of this small gap. The mechanical device at first stops, right? The swirling nature of the drill starts to slow and then starts to spark, and then the whole device. I guess I should give you a moment because you're right there. What would you do, mechanic?
Me?
No, the mechanic.
I just kind of look and be like, huh? Grab out my wrench and I probably just whack at it.
Hey, that's my role. No kidding.
when you whack at it, you hit it, and it goes flying out of the hole. As it launches backwards towards the front where you guys came in the tunnel, like, maybe like 10 yards back. It just goes flying. I mean, you hit it hard, but that was no sense within physics, right? Just stupid. Now, of course, that would be crazy, but archaeologists, you, of course, are stunned by that, but you're even more stunned by what comes out as this spiraling mini tornado sort of air just whistles and whips out of this. You can't even tell where the hole is, and it just grows and expands. What do you do, Zephyr?
Me?
Yeah, what do you do?
I'm happy to be free. I'm tearing around the room, whipping up like crazy fast winds that are like sending clothes and hair flying and
What's going on?
Tornado!
What did you do?
I'm just like, I'm too old for this, and I'm like trying to because this wind's like blowing my flask around.
Hank, your map is being ripped right out of your hand and spiraled up into the ceiling, and you can just see it laying flat on the roof.
Hey, you should have him make a roll to see if his dumb luck will let it fall into his hand.
Zephyr, is there anything you want to say to them or to Boomhauer, or is there something that they notice about the wind that's flowing around, that it's not just wind, like a wind tunnel, it's something different?
The wind seems almost to have a front to it, less that it's like a spiraling tornado and more that it's like a central thing trailing sort of like a tail or a mist behind it, like just sort of going in circles around the room, like almost like joyful.
So it's obvious that all of you can tell that this isn't just a wind tunnel. Something strange happened here. Something that's, only the superstitious would be led to believe. For the most part, all of you are scientists or scientific minds, not necessarily anyone who leans on, superstition or weird, wild thoughts, other than maybe Boomhauer a bit, obviously, because the spirit.
Doubtful and PTSD. Yeah. It's like Nam again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, oh no, yeah, it's the war. The wall of ice, though, with no tampering, no mechanical device, begins to crack, and it's loud, and it's it's echoing through this room with the wind tunnel, and it's a wild show of events of elements right now. Mechanic, what do you do?
Does it feel like everything's starting to crack, or is it just that one section?
The wall where you were digging. That wall is splintering, and it's splintering very loud, too loud, dynamically.
I start kind of backing away, and I'm just like,
okay,
like kind of, not what I signed up for.
Okay, archaeologist, what do you do?
Like I see it cracking now, and even with the tornado still kind of going on, like I'm gonna get through there. And I pull out Stego, and I run up, and I just smash into it with my pickaxe. And I'm gonna use my beginner skill, pickaxe hero.
Thank you.
And so I think that would probably be a reasonable use of it.
It would be, but this is going to be an imaginative use because I don't have any problem. I would have gave you, you breaking and shattering. It's more of how well this turns out for you about what's behind it about to come through. So roll 1 die for imagine and 1 die for pickaxe.
Yeah, that's a double fail.
Okay.
So critical.
What'd you roll?
Double 10.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I have to
Oh,
ask.
God.
I had a feeling.
Okay. So when you get a perfect success or a critical failure, we go collaborative with it. So what happens is we start with you when it's a failure. We end with you when it's a success. So what's the worst possible thing that could happen for you or the story right now?
Getting knocked out of the whole thing or something like that, to where they discover something, but I'm not actually awake for it.
Morgan, what do you think?
I'd say you mentioned before how like the spirit of the earth was like this sort of hand that was blocking the drill. Maybe there's like a split second of silence, and all of a sudden the ice starts cracking again, but it's like somehow louder and like angrier, and you just see like sort of like the brown sort of like impression of fingerprints pushing through the ice just further, leaving like dents that are coming out of it, almost like something is seething trying to get out.
Sout, what do you think?
Actually, it's something similar, but it was more like he cracked the ice, and the moment that hand, like he cracked it, the spirit of the earth's hand actually grabs him and just pulls him in.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking it's Sapphire, like it just wants to pull back what belongs with him, like, no, come back, and oh crap, wrong one.
So in Jeremy, what do you think?
His luck runs out.
Okay. So what happens there is just like vision rolls, right? I hear all that stuff, and then it's all to give me more ideas and kind of hear where I gauge your interest, and I add that to what I'm thinking. I tell you what happens, right? So you run over, and you have that moment of glory as your eyes sparkle, and you take Stego and you slam it right into the biggest splinter, perfectly right into the hole, as if you knew exactly where she came out of. And when you hit the hole, you actually stick the pickaxe in the hole, ending the vacuum that was going on. But of course, then making it that the pressure on the inside just shatters all of the ice. And all of the ice wall that was splintering, all the force behind it just pressurizes it and launches it forward. So everyone starts getting peppered by large, big chunks of ice.
Oh, no.
So everyone other than Zephyr, right, because she's incorporeal. So each of you take 2 points of damage to your body. So for now, you could either write it down or you could just know that happens. Does that knock anybody out?
That actually would knock me out, because since I'm older, I only gave myself 2 body.
2 body, okay. Do you have any strategies that would help you avoid it, right? Or protect yourself or anything?
Could I use my wrench to, like, as I notice things come towards me, like maybe try to knock away, yeah, like
just deflect the one that would hurt you,
like a baseball bat.
Oh yeah.
Which one of your strategies would you use for that?
Probably a drinker, because only a drunk idiot.
like a drunken brawler. I get it.
I have been drinking this whole way, because here's Hank that says, "Let's go dig into the ice." I'm just like, this is gonna end great.
Awesome. So you go ahead and roll Imagine Drinker, and let's see if you had your wrench in your hand.
Wow, how did I succeed on that one? my Imagine's a 3 and I rolled a 2.
That's great. Yeah.
Nice.
And my drinker, I rolled a 1.
Okay,
nice.
Excellent. So with that, you just, as they're coming at you, almost like in slow motion, you duck under the first one. You kind of like upward swing with your wrench and knock one backwards. You hit another, and
The Matrix.
Yeah, as you're just kind of knocking this away, but you see the shards just flying everywhere. They're large chunks, as if like walls of ice were just flying past you. You can't quite make out what's going on, but you're just barely swinging in time to kind of knock this stuff out of your way. You still take a point of damage, because the idea is that obviously you're still getting hit by stuff, but you're kind of rolling with it and knocking it away as it's like hitting you. Obviously, Zephyr, it's almost time for you to go. So the wall's going to shatter, and behind it, the ground itself is going to lift up, and kind of like we said, like Groot, but in a sort of muddy rock form. There's like a splinter of earth that kind of sticks up that's got large arms and hands, and in one of them is Stego, and it is our archaeologist Wyoming, who's hanging on to Stego, who's being lifted up into the air, holding on to Stego as Stego is in the hand, and with the wall shattering. It actually opens quite a bit of space where the creature's, it's like 10 feet tall. So it's, it's lifting you a few feet off the ground. But you see that the spirit of the earth is manifest here, and you are there, and these people have freed you, but have obviously incurred the wrath of the spirit of the earth. What would you like to do? The spirit of the earth is just trying to keep you here because it's worried that you're just going to run away. It probably doesn't even care about them, but if they're going to steal you, it does.
My initial thought would be to flee because the spirit of the earth is after me, and presumably if I were to leave, it would follow me and not them. However, also it was these humans, these mortals, who set me free and who allowed for my escape. And so I have no doubt that the spirit of the earth is also enraged at them.
Yeah, and I think the spirit of the earth has Wyoming up in the air holding Stego, and just kind of like starts to wiggle to try to make him go loose, and then takes that hand and thinks that if I can't, I'm just going to swat this guy and his Stego right into Boomhauer.
Oh, wow. So is that why I took 2 points of damage?
You got hit with the ice, and then as soon as you kind of get up from getting slammed by ice, you see a giant earth hand with a guy holding a pickaxe. And unfortunately, with the pickaxe, it's got a point on both ends, and it's coming at you.
Okay.
But I want to give her an opportunity to do something she wants to.
I'd probably rush between and try to use wind to hold the two apart.
Yeah.
As sort of like breaching keeping a gap between them. I know, Dad, calm down.
Why don't you can tell us what happens, and then you can go, okay?
Right, yeah. And I use the wind to sort of hold them apart and keep a distance between them, and maybe try to force them apart or away from one another.
Okay. So clearly what that's going to show is we're going to have the spirit of the wind kind of manifest. You're going to see an actual silhouette of a being that's actually using the elements to kind of like hold both, almost like Atlas holding the world on his shoulders or something. That's going to keep the hand. Of course, it's probably going to be uncomfortable for Wyoming here, who's kind of like smashed with the pickaxe over his head. Like, what's holding me up right now? But so Morgan, I know you have to go, so feel free. Okay, thank you so much.
It was great playing with you guys. I hope I get a chance to play with you people again.
It was fun.
Yep.
So the spirit of the wind manifests, and you see the shape of kind of like a woman figure, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking a little bit like you're sort of Greek, right? Something old, right? Something that would give you the feeling of like a toga and hair put up with like a leaf or some kind of a tiara made of like, wood or gold or, but not like, it's not all gems and jewels and high tech, but in a ghostly figure, but in a figure that without actually physically touching Wyoming or without physically touching Boomhauer, it's as if it has like Jedi force that's stopping both from colliding.
Let go, you fool! I tell him to let go. It's better for the fall to get pulled.
Can't free it!
Are there any strategies you have that might help you break free? Or if you care to, maybe this is a good chance to dumb luck your way into something else.
Yeah, no, dumb luck would be the best thing.
Do you want to be free? Or, I mean, so far it's not necessarily hurting you.
Yeah. So I want to, I'm still being kind of moved around, and so I want to try to like lift myself up my feet on the hand and try to pull back using my feet to pry it loose. And while I'm doing this, I'm yelling, "Get the camera!" Get the camera.
Sarah, I'm still recording.
Awesome. Okay, so when you say that, why don't you take over being the director for a second, right? So when you say that, like you said, you're like kind of upside down, feet up against the wall at this angle, like looking this way, and over your shoulder, you see him on the ground behind the ghost that's like keeping you both at a distance, and on his shoulder, there's the boxes reopen again because all the ice, he's like covered in ice and snow, and his face is kind of bruised up with like, pink spots, and the device opens up again, and he's like, open camera, and over your shoulder, you can kind of see it. What do you say to the camera as it just begins to pick this up? It should see the back of the ghostly visage and the giant hand of the tree looking earth thing.
It's Dr. Hank Johnson. We're in the Rikers mine. Don't know what the heck this is, but we're gonna find out.
Okay. Of course, we're gonna get back to Rusty here in a second, but we're gonna hit the first milestone with that you have made a career-making discovery,
Nice.
as you have gotten proof, right, of not necessarily what has happened here, but you've discovered it. Now, if only you can get it out there or get people to believe what it is that you're going to show them. So when we hit a milestone, characters get to be upgraded. We try to give that character who came up with the milestone a moment to shine, which is kind of why we try to cinematically showcase him hanging backwards, looking at the camera, speaking out loud. Sometimes, it doesn't end up being the characters, but, you always try to at least give some part, make it a defining moment of the story, right? So as the story kind of suspends there for a moment, our players would get to upgrade their characters. This was Wyoming's milestone. So each of you would get to upgrade 2 things in your character sheet that have a number value. Not your belief, but anything else. So strategy, soul skills, your health scores, and you can raise them by 1, but twice because it's the first milestone. Your max is 7, except for Lucid. One of yours can go up to 8 because it was your milestone. So I said a lot. What questions do you have?
That like for strategy, that'd be just like moving one up a rank or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or...
Yeah. So if it's at the best, you could, in your case, you could make one thing a legend right now. Right. But otherwise, yeah, like if you had something at a 5, you could raise it to 6 and then to 7.
Dumb luck up to legend.
Sure. Yes. Your legendary dumb luck. And that's kind of what it's meant for. When it's your milestone, you're going to take up generally the opportunity to make legendary moments or something. And Jeremy, what about you? Right? Yeah, the first milestone, you always get 2 things. If you want a new strategy, it starts at beginner. If you want a new relationship, you could do that.
I was thinking moving my drinker up to an expert because that was some intense moments for. When you were starting to tape that moment, I just think of Sarah, starting to here's Hank, like, this is Hank, what, and Sarah's like, certified excellent rider accelerator.
Sorry, I missed my cue. That would have been awesome. Yeah.
And then Boomhauer's like, sorry, can you repeat that, please?
That'd be great. Shut up and film. Shut up and film.
So do I only move one thing, right? Since it was not my...
You both get 2. Everyone gets 2 things. It's just your cap is 7 for all your points.
Gotcha. Trying to think of a different strategy.
And you can also do your soul skills.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I ended up doing.
If you want to if you want to come up with a strategy, you don't have to spend them now. I mean, if you want to wait and if you think of something in 10 minutes, that's no big deal too.
I moved up my Imagine 1 to 4 because saw some pretty intense stuff just now.
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's I don't ever make people justify what they choose. It's like a movie, right? I mean, sometimes you just happen to have what you need, and we never talked about it before. So, okay. So the second half of your advancement is alters your belief. So everyone has a belief of 4. So when you hit a milestone, your belief goes up by 2. So everyone now has a belief of 6. Now, the way you lose belief is when we have challenges, you can be defeated in a challenge. And if you're defeated, you lose 2 belief. So especially when we have whole sessions that are 1 milestone, there's a lot more opportunity for challenges and a lot more opportunity to lose. Obviously, in quick play, in short milestones of 30 minutes or something, we don't have as many challenges, so you usually kind of escalate belief pretty quick. So we didn't talk about belief earlier, and belief is why you guys were able to re-roll with 1 tag use. It's a chart that's at the bottom middle of your sheet. It says it has a 1 to 10 scale on it, missing a couple of numbers, right? So like if you have a 1 belief or higher, you can use 1 tag to re-roll 1 failed die if you can justify it. If you have 2 belief or higher, you have a pocket double success when you need it, but you have to spend 2 belief to use it. You can't break criticals though. You can only use it before you get a critical. Okay. And then now that you have 6 belief each, you actually have a pocket critical. And now going forward, you'll have the opportunity to reroll up to 2 failed dice using tags. Okay. Okay. Any questions or anything? Normally what we do next is we go right into vision rolls again. We get new vision tags. We influence the story. But in one-shots like this, I usually just start to plow through. Okay. So given that, the next milestone is to trust again. Now, this milestone was Rusty's.
Yes.
Was our mechanics. So me as the guide, I'm going to try to make it your moment. But obviously, we see where the story goes. And sometimes we're just going to find the moment also where we learn to trust again something. So we drop right back into the action. So Sarah is getting the camera feed. Wyoming was just talking, and I keep saying Wyoming because I can't forget Wyoming, right? So, but Hank is reporting out loud. Rusty, you knocking these ice pieces away with your wrench, and Boomhauer, you were kind of making sure you get good footage, and you're kind of just on the ground. You're a bit stuck because the force of the spirit of the wind is kind of keeping you suppressed as well. Mm-hmm. So, Rusty, what do you do?
The hand, do we see a face or something with it?
The body that is attached to it does have a top to it as if it was a head. It doesn't have any like eyes or a mouth or any features like that. But I mean, it still has like a humanoid like body, except for its legs or a base like a tree.
So I was going to try and talk it down.
Okay.
Like try to yell at it to just put down Hank, I guess. As much as I'm enjoying Hank being flailed around, he does need to pay some untold bills.
So what's very fitting is that we're going to walk right into this. Obviously, this has escalated to be a problem. So we're going to make a challenge out of this. So what a challenge is anytime me as the guide says, hey, this is like a boss battle. We need more tension, more drama. We need some more back and forth. We need more difficulty for the players to succeed because this is important. So what happens is on the fly, I give it a mind, body, and spirit like you guys have.
Okay.
And I give it 3 tags. The tags I give it are the disadvantages for you guys against it, or its advantages against you. So when you go to do something that could defeat the challenge, hurt it, outsmart it, talk it down, if I can use one of its tags to block you, cause you trouble, or get in the way of what you want to do, I'm going to make you reroll your successes 1 time.
Okay.
So there's a little more back and forth of what goes on, and it's all through rerolls. All right. So the mind of this challenge, we have the spirit of the earth, who is a bit vengeful and scared and desperate. To outsmart the spirit, he is kind of what we learned from the spirit of the wind is they may all be bipolar. So to outsmart the spirit of the mind, spirit of the mind, the spirit of the earth. I'm going to say it's a 5, just above average. Okay. The body of this challenge. Now that's where its strong suit is. I mean, it's made of earth. We don't even know if it has guts or anything that are important. You don't even know where its eyes and mouth or anything sensitive would be. So the body, we're going to give it a 8. And then spirit, to talk it down, manipulate it. The funny thing here, right, is it's going to do what it wants. So I think that's a very strong set in its ways thing. So I'm going to give that a 6. Now the tags is where we're going to play with that. So I'm going to say hard as stone is 1 because that's really a problem that makes it strong and very durable. Another tag it has is that it is desperate because it doesn't want to lose its love in this case. And then the third thing is that probably that you're in a cave, right? You're kind of stuck. You don't have unlimited resources. There's not other people. You were trapped in some ways. I mean, there's one clear way out. But those are the 3 things I see. So how do you want to try to talk down, defeat, beat up, get it to leave, one of these sort of things, the spirit of the earth?
So I was going to, honestly, I was almost thinking of just seeing if I can calm it down just by like kind of using my mediator pass to try to like, hey, like a wild animal, like calm.
Sure. What strategy would help you?
So I'm going to use personable. So since I'm a cranky old crazed dude, I am not that good at it anymore. So I'm a beginner with it. But it's a reasonable skill, I think. So.
Okay, go for it.
All right, we'll do that one as personable. I succeed on my reason, failed on my personable.
Okay. And tell me again, what were you trying to do? You were trying to calm it down by doing what?
Just like talking to it down, like, hey, we're not here to hurt you kind of thing. Like, don't mind Hank hanging from your hand. Just let him go.
I feel like it's worth mentioning. So when the ice shattered,
the
room suddenly feels a lot taller, a lot more open, right? It feels like you were in a tunnel and now you're like in a gymnasium.
Okay.
And with that, this creature kind of grew out of the ground into like a tree-looking kind of creature, but made of like mud and stone, hard rock. Right. And it's sticking up into the air, maybe 10, 12 feet. But when you're 5 or 6 feet tall, it looks like it's 30 feet tall. Sometimes it's deceptive how high that can look,
Right.
So it's arched downward in a way. So it does kind of feel like this large thing that's kind of looming above you, with a wild hand that's, elongated and far, holding, effortlessly holding up Hank. Mm-hmm. So it is this, and it's kind of dark in here without a lot of the reflection of light that you were getting from the ice itself, because now you have this sort of dark brown and black, more of this stone and rock structure without as many lights, just to give you more of the environment of what you're looking at and feeling. And so with that in mind, you start trying to, I imagine like you did, you put your hands out, you start like calming, trying to,
like with Chris Pratt in, Jurassic World, like with the, like velocity, like the, hey, like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Okay. And as soon as you go to do that, the cave itself is starting to play tricks on you in the way that your body feels like it's in danger. The immensity of the creature and the changes in this room and all the ice that flew around, it's a little unnerving. So re-roll your 1 success and see if that sticks first.
All right. So it does not. I rolled a 10.
Now, the good news is you now have up to 2 tags to use if you can make sense of it to reroll. So which tag would you like to try first to try to get some successes out of this? Don't forget, you also have a double success and a critical in your pocket if you need it. So
correct. Let's not use that yet. I mean, I probably should, but I'm going to use my stubborn tag because No, sometimes I don't know when to stop.
Yeah. Sure.
So do I roll for that one first?
Yep. And you're queasy on the inside. Your knees want to give out. You just feel so uncomfortable. Your head's a little disoriented with like unclear. It's hard to think. But at the same point, you know what you want and you're not ready to give up yet.
So with the rolls, does it have to be at or under, or is
It has to be under.
Oh, it has to be under. Okay, so I did not succeed on that one.
You could use another tag.
Um,
You were stubbornly still like this, even though your body just wants to fall over.
Can I use my mediator tag? Saying like, it's like I've been in some pretty rough situations.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, as a mediator, it makes sense. It's like a second nature for you. But I like that you're like, hey, I've been in rough situations before.
And I fail on that one too.
Okay. And you never roll doubles, right? I mean, that's the one bad side about re-rolling is hopefully you never roll the same number twice.
No, I rolled a 7 and then an 8.
Okay. So because I know the system, so what happens is you take damage for every fail you roll.
Okay.
Not every is in like, including the tags. Just right now you would take 2 points of damage. You were trying to talk it down, so you would end up taking 2 points to your spirit because you get hurt in the way that you try to tackle the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You would get a negative tag that you would carry with you.
Got him drinking in real life now.
Until we voted off of what, like kind of scars you from this.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can buy your way out of it for 2 belief to either get a critical or a regular success. But those are what you have on the table. If you have more than 2 spirit, you will not die. You will not be, massacred. You will have a negative tag, which I can then start to use to force you to re-roll your successes in any situation.
You know what? I'll take the negative tag.
Okay.
I think it'll add some fun to it.
I agree. So what do you think happens?
Well, you mentioned how, like, as I'm trying to do this, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's just I lose some courage a little. Like what do you got?
You hurl. You're drunk. I feel like you were trying to talk it down. And maybe it was gonna work, but you're like,
yeah. Since I have been drinking, a hurl could easily like, hey, call blood.
Like, because you just got pelted with ice. You're doing all these. You're jostling about, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, and you failed.
I
hope that's okay. I'll interject.
It's like I was doing good, and then out came my liquid dinner.
Hank, what's he? And by Hank, I like to try to call players their character name as much as possible. What do you think's a good word for him? So he's going to puke, but he's going to puke probably because he's afraid, because he is breaking. We need to give him a tag, right? That's negative. I mean, I could say he's covered in puke, but that seems kind of weak, right? We need something that like lingers. What do you think?
I don't know if nauseated would work, or
It could be nauseated, sure. Okay, so I'm going to say you're nauseous, right? And what we could add, how do we heighten that a bit? We could say that you are, God, sick to your stomach. Let's just put nauseous for now. I know what I mean. That I want to. It's a little bit more. It's a virulent nauseous, right? It's a extra nauseous. It's like I'm sick to my stomach and my whole body. It just wants to come inside out. But so the one thing with the negative tag, on top of what I told you, is you put it to the right of one of your tags, and it's going to make one of your tags void until you get rid of this.
I was thinking of my stubborn.
Okay. Well, it kind of makes sense, right? You were stubborn, and it got you the situation, and now you might be second guessing yourself.
Yeah, and it's just like I was about to go do something. It's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, I'll be right back.
All right. So it was looming above you. You were trying to calm it down. You got kind of paralyzed with fear, but you stuck through it because your first and second nature were to just go with the flow. Don't worry about it. You'll win. You'll break it down. You'll mediate the situation like you always have. And then when you vomit, it actually kind of launches out. And when it does, it hits the base of the stone sort of beast structure. And the thing begins to like reverberate with sound, which you can only imagine is kind of like it roaring, right? It wants to paralyze you with fear. It wants to scare the hell out of you now because it thinks that you just like shot it with something. I mean, it doesn't know that you just are some stupid human that puked in the fear. It thinks that you were like, you threw something at it that was ineffective to hurt it. Yeah. So you hurl, Hank, it's your turn. It reverberates. There's a loud, deafening sound in here. Is there something that you'd like to do? Now, the cool thing is the reason why we have these 3 health scores is as soon as you get one of them to 0, the challenge is over. I don't care which one it is, which leaves this totally up to interpretation of whatever best fits your character and the situation of how you want to try to handle it. To remind you, it's got a 5 mind, an 8 body, and a 6 spirit. So that also kind of manipulates the situation with you in it. If you buy a critical, you will deal it 4 points of damage to one of those. Okay. If you get 2 successes towards it, you will deal 2 points of damage towards it, just to give you ideas. And those tags it has are a problem, but as you get double successes against the challenge, you can begin to remove those tags from it. So I have less to work with. Right. You were hanging on to Stego.
Right. And he's
maybe you don't want to end it.
Yeah.
Maybe
because we're filming all this, so
maybe you want it to get what it wants, so that it then you get great film, and then it leaves, and you could follow it.
Well, right now it seems pretty wild, so it's probably not safe for us to let it kind of run loose. So, I'll be back for you. And I drop down.
Yeah.
And what I want to try to do is take out my duct tape and run circles around its legs.
Now, it's got a giant base, like a tree trunk.
Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to do it, but it won't trip it in the same way. Other than if it's still, it kind of shifts along the ground. So, I mean, it could trip it eventually.
Okay.
Just not as much as, 2 legs, you tighten them together, and then now it's,
Right.
But if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to.
Well, and I was thinking more like a Star Wars style where you go around a few times, not just like a single.
Sure. But, so do you think this targets the body, or is it outsmarting it, which could be mine? Either one's fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really damage to the body, so
outsmarting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a lower score anyway, so that might work out better for you.
And strategy wise, maybe exploit weakness.
Yeah.
Trying this mobility.
Is that what you have? Is exploit weakness?
Yeah. Okay. I've broken so much stuff. I think I've learned how to find weak spots and things like that.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a reasonable use of it. I'm going to say it's imagine though, just because of the circumstances.
Okay.
You're like, what can I do? What can I do? Oh shit! Look at that! Oh, I had to let go of Stego. I still got duct tape. And then you're like, I'm gonna wrap this tree trunk till it falls over.
All right. So it's a success for the imagine with the
Cool.
4, and a fail for exploit weakness with the 7.
Okay. As soon as you get a success, whether it was 1 or 2, I'm gonna look at my tags and see if I can do anything to block you a bit. So it's hard as stone. We already acknowledged that, not a problem. It's desperate, which actually could help you, right? And the cave itself means there's not a lot of space. But you're not trying to run out or run away from it. You're like, hey, I'm just trying to run around the problem. So I don't think any of those are really going to be held against you, unless I want to be a dick, right? So, go ahead and use your tags if you want to try to reroll the other failure.
Would that be, you can use relationship tags too there?
You sure can. You just got to explain how that applies by bringing the relationship into it,
Okay.
What happened earlier today, maybe by actually making the person there doing something,
Right. Yeah, because for the pilot, I have the tag escape danger that could potentially help, I guess.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm down to be used.
Maybe Sarah starts creating a light show to try to distract him or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it'd be me, but not Sarah. But Sarah,
Well, yeah.
Well, I get you. maybe, yeah. Let's see.
So what did you say it would be? It wasn't Sarah. It'd be what?
It'd be me because Sarah's
Okay.
my relationship, but
Well, I meant like figuring a way for you to cause a distraction or something
that
like
makes
that.
sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could choose to use Sarah if you wanted to, but yeah. So
I
do
get
you have input on? Do you like the light show idea, or would you like to do something else?
Well, I want to see first if he succeeds his role or not.
Yeah,
And
got
that
one.
would. You did succeed?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, so you start dazzling it with the light show while it's. I like that the camera's like the paparazzi right now. Not only is it like filming and getting footage, it's like
What's multifunction? It's Chinese. Come on.
yeah, it's like got flashers and stuff
Got
going
a
on.
lot of features.
So this giant spirit of the earth has been puked on. It's getting,
But it doesn't have eyes, right? You said.
yeah, no, it has no eyes. Okay, but anyway,
Rave going.
it's strobe light effect. Yeah.
Do.
But it's fitting, just like the puke. It doesn't register what it is. It just thinks it's threatening. So it then begins to distract it as you continue to wrap the tape around it. And by doing so, you are setting a trap, right? So you have 2 successes against it, meaning the mind of the challenge went from 5 to 3. And now that you got 2 successes against it, you could say that it being made of hard stone, it being desperate, or it being in the cave is no longer a problem. If you don't want to do that, you also have the option of adding a tag to it, and then all of you guys could use that to your advantage. If you you wanted to say that there's a, an avalanche, or that we, because of all the changing stuff that you've now found this in the room, or So you could tag the scene or something in the situation.
Right.
Adding that if you wanted to, or of course it's always a great idea to remove the stuff that I can hold against you as well, which is hard stone, desperate, and cave.
Well, I mean, I know the Heart of Stone was probably meant literally, but at the same time, it seems to react to everything like dumbly, so it doesn't really seem to be very courageous. Like it doesn't really have a Heart of Stone.
Okay, so we're gonna take off hard stone. Okay, so what do you want to do? Its base is wrapped in duct tape. It's moving towards you, and it's swinging this hand that's got stego on it, trying to basically like smash you, particularly to smash Sarah.
Right.
You do have to deal with this little voice over here that's saying certified excellent ride accelerator.
Now that the spirit is kind of manifested in more humanoid form, you said, and I never it was a contact for me, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe it truly loved me. Maybe I see that kind of thing going, right? So I try to maybe use that as to make the earth jealous in a way.
Sure. No, actually.
Would that be a spirit or mine? Because I'm trying to outsmart. I'm gonna put 2 to 2 together. Like I'm gonna realize something's going on. Like the way the earth is reacting to her, the way she's looking at me, the way she's looking at that. Like I'm like, it's like, oh, like like that. It's like, I wish I had my doobie to be like,
Yeah. It really could be either. How you said it makes me think mine because you're putting it together, but it depends on what you're trying to do with it. If you are using it to manipulate it, then it's spirit that you're targeting. So, but if you're using it to outsmart it, like you're trying to get it to do something that could be, bad, or, in this case, make it fall over or something,
Okay. I was gonna buy a critical success just to help with this, but I don't know how to So
sure. What do you think you could do to outsmart it? Now, what you know as a player is that it's worried that it's gonna lose its loved one. It's worried that maybe you people are gonna take it away from it. It also it trapped her here. Maybe it could be trapped here, like it trapped her.
Yeah. I pieced it together that maybe they were both trapped. So as I basically would try to offer it, help our world. Like we're all in this planet together.
Okay. So sure. So what you want to do is, first of all, what strategy would you use to do that?
Negotiator.
Okay.
But awesome. I want to buy a critical success. I'm just going to spend it.
Okay. So you would negotiate with it, right?
Yeah.
Are you still suspended underneath the spirit of the wind, or do you try to stand up through that? What does this look like to you?
Okay, so yeah, okay, so because the spirit of the wind, I already had that resilience effect.
Yeah.
It didn't mean to harm me. It was just trying to space us. Like, so it's when it realizes I want to get up. It's almost like a dance partner almost at this point. Like we're
Yeah.
becoming more and more in tuned. So I stand up, and she's like focusing more her attention on them, and I'm like trying to just be like a peacekeeper sort of thing. Like, hey, I think you guys were just wanting to get out, and we are just trying to explore. You guys can go, and we'll explore.
Okay. So, um, Rusty, right?
Yes.
You specifically, Jeremy, I want a little input from you. What do you think this is going to have as an effect on the spirit of the earth? Now, we can even go bigger here because we know that we need to activate the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the spirit of the earth and the spirit of the wind being locked here is part of the reason for climate issues, or maybe of what the moon has that may be a problem. Is there any insight or anything, any direction that you like about what I said, or have any other thing you want to add to the situation for why is the spirit of the earth going to appeal to his plea of, we're not here, we're not here to set you free, but if you want to be free, just go. We just came to
Right.
explore.
Well, I was thinking like where this could go, and it was almost like they could have possibly been guarding, like a something to control the moon. Like those two were there to protect the moon, and Zephyr was trying to escape her being the guard, and the Earth is like standing strong of like, hey, like this is our job, like we can't leave our post. And for us, like what Hank doesn't know is like where we're actually going is like maybe some sort of control room for the moon. Like we don't necessarily have to go to the moon to actually control it. It could be like from a remote spot for all we know.
Okay.
That's
So,
that was kind of what I was thinking, almost like which way were we going possibly.
sure. So you make this appeal. And surprisingly, not to you, because, and I'm talking to Sout here. So Sout, your character Boomhauer, kind of like steps up and starts explaining this. We're just trying to explore. If you want to be free, then be free. And what happens is, obviously, for the rest of you, if he buys a crit, it does 4 points of damage. If
Mhm.
he leaned it towards the mind, it defeats the last 3. So it's going to defeat the challenge. You got some ideas of what they were saying. Since he bought a perfect success, we should actually do the circle thing. So, Jeremy, you kind of talked about what you were thinking. What do you think is the best outcome for Boomhauer or the story here?
Um, I think he should keep talking them down, or like try to set them free. And for once, I and kind of try to play on like Rusty's mindset is, he really doesn't trust much people. Like, he's never really trusted Boomhauer before. He's never really liked his antics, but maybe he's on to something. Like, he thinks this idea is something he can finally go with. He's kind of like coming out of that shell a little.
Okay.
Working on that more trustworthy-ish.
Lucid, what do you think? What's the best thing that could happen out of this for Boomhauer or the story?
The Earth kind of understands. I mean, it's the Earth. I mean, it's maybe suffered a lot at humanity's hands, but it's probably smart enough to understand what we say at this point. And it wants the spirit. So if we're not harming that, then I don't see any reason why it would keep coming at us or anything.
Okay. And then Sout, what's your final say? Hearing what they said, hearing us talk a little bit about, maybe the direction, what do you think is the best thing for Boomhauer or the story that happens with the spirit of the earth and the spirit of the wind here?
I feel like maybe both spirits realize they are free to do as they wish for once. Like it's been eons since they've been able to. Maybe there's so I figured maybe the Earth just does want to explore. Realizes maybe even though he was fixated on the spirit of wood, maybe there's other spirits he can learn about. Maybe the spirit of water and lava. Maybe the Earth likes it hot. And maybe the spirit of wind would just tag along instead, you know? Maybe the spirit of wind is more fixated on us. Like, her character had his true love, so maybe, you know, maybe because I was a pilot, maybe that's where that wind-like bond would be. I don't know.
Sure. So what happens, right, is that so you're talking, and the spirit of the earth takes this hand that's got stego in it, and you kind of have to be forthright with yourself. You have to walk forward and kind of put yourself out there to, like, try to really proclaim with, you have to be a little vulnerable to throw yourself after and then be like, no, seriously, we're not here to hurt you. And you kind of have that moment where you have to, like, look at the stampeding elephant as it goes to smash you with this hand that's got the pickaxe in it, which unfortunately for you is like it's like a nail in its hand coming at you. But as it's coming and you feel like it's going to just pierce right into you, it falls over and the hand sticks in the ground as it falls short because of the duct tape. And when it slams into the ground, it makes the whole room kind of shudder. And, some debris falls from the ceiling, and it kind of forces each of you to kind of, like, cover up or, at least hold stuff over your head. And the spirit of the wind sort of, like, spirals around the room, deflecting most of the bigger pieces and blowing them away. So it's only the little stuff that kind of gets through. And when the spirit of the earth finally gets up, it's just what it needed. It was a hard smack in the face. It kind of, like, leans up, like you would think, as if it was like bendy, right? And you see the features of a face form on the end of the earth mold of the tip, where the little top of the tree would be, right, without the branches and stuff. And it looks to you, and it speaks in just an old, solemn voice, saying something like, freedom doesn't necessarily mean that. Sorry, let me rephrase that. To be free is to be uncontained. And it kind of, like, it means something to it that maybe to you is just obvious, right? Especially the mechanic who's like, what the fuck is that? Like, obviously, because you're, literal minded, So it looks, and the spirit of the wind becomes a person,
uncontained, man.
And the spirit of the wind just kind of forms into the most corporeal form you've seen yet, and stands before it. And there's no hostility in the room. There's no fierce, like, feral energy, bestial energy between the two of them, animosity. And the spirit of the wind puts its arm around the pilot and says, so finally you understand. We weren't meant to be trapped here forever. You've let us be trapped here for so long that we've not truly lived. Of course, and it feels only fitting that Rusty would say something at this point. As this, like, mushy crap is going on, and then it's things that make no sense to you. What does Rusty have to say about this?
Are we done yet?
Wait, I have to say something.
Yeah.
So I look at Rusty like, dude, chill. Like, don't block this.
So here's Boomhauer, like, pulls another, doobie out. It's like, hey, won't you try this for once?
Is there anything that you wanted to do, Hank?
Seeing him kind of calm down and stuff, but, like, timidly just kind of walk up and take the end of the tape and start walking the opposite direction.
The tree, and then I keep saying tree just because that's most of what it looks like, right? But the stone tree, we'll say, it kind of sits up and has, like, almost like a Gumby-like figure, right? Like, it's like this earthy, rocky substance, but it's just this, like, pencil that's bendy with long limbs, and it kind of sits like a Twizzler would, just at a half curl, and one of its hands kind of hovers by you, Hank, and it unhandedly kind of moves towards you, and your stego just slowly kind of, like, it's the earth in his hand fills, pushing out the stego, and then it just rests in his hand as he offers it back to you.
I take it and I'll get close while I keep unwinding the tape.
Okay.
Thank you. Did you get that? Thank you. Did you get that?
So this is obviously us learning to trust again, but not us as in the player characters. It's the two spirits learning that they can trust each other. So in this case, what happens is, to give some brevity to this situation, because obviously we don't have all the time in the world. The spirits explain to you that at least the spirit of the wind knows that this world has been contained just like the two of them. And they've been contained so long that they haven't been able to effectively care for this world as they should. And some things have gone out of whack, which would be the human terms, not the element terms. So largely, without the two of them to be protecting the world has grown cold. And the cold has not been fended off, as the earth hasn't spinned as it should. And they believe that their essence has faded so much that what's happened is that the moon itself has slowly begun to die, is how they kind of explain it to you, that it wasn't always the moon as you know it to be. And as that's grown old and cold, it's cast this shadow on your world.
Idea. I have an idea.
What's up?
Maybe after the moon activates, it was an additional heat source.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like it's a mini sun.
Like a portable sun. Pocket sun.
So they talk about a world that wasn't always ice and cold like this. And they think that if we could get the moon to change, to be restored as it once was before the elements thought that they should be, fought amongst themselves, it once again could be great and your world could be different. Now, it's probably worth mentioning, I don't know if any of your characters, if somebody was like, hey, your world could be awesome. It could be 100 degrees. You guys might all be like, F that, We're used to the cold. But that's largely what's kind of montage to your characters in this cave amongst the spirits. And the spirit of the wind says that it needs to go to the moon. Only there, and it has some kind of paper, which of course is beautiful and strange and odd, and it gifts this to Hank, because it doesn't fear Hank that Hank would run away with it. And it's this map that says it's to the temple of Mana that's on the moon.
This is so much better than my map.
And the weirdest thing is it makes sense.
But looking at it the right way.
I was like, sorry, but of course, figuring it, your map eventually, floats down like a feather and slaps over your face.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So with that, we would hit the second milestone, right? They trust again. You would get your upgrades. It would lead us right into our last step. Of course, if there's anything you've been holding out for, you can go buy it if you want to, but you don't really need to. It's up to you. With the, it takes us to our last leg, which is we need to avenge a betrayal. So we have about 13, 15 minutes-ish. We should probably epilogue Avenge a Betrayal. Mm-hmm. So to do that, we kind of want to get an idea. First of all, we should talk to Hank. What do you see as, what is the betrayal here? What is it that we should try to avenge? What's the coolest thing to you as the player that we should try to tackle?
I think it was all done on purpose, and the betrayal is in a larger sense, like full-on betrayed humanity, locking up the spirits or whatever, and maybe the richest ruling family or whatever in this iced earth are the ones, like their ancestors, the ones who locked them up, and they've been taking it. And so we're trying to avenge the betrayal of humanity as a whole.
So maybe there's this, cult of Uncovery. Maybe they're on the moon, or maybe the problem isn't getting to the moon. Maybe it's the problem is that they're going to try to stop you before you would go to the moon.
Yeah, makes sense.
Do you like one of those better? Do you think that the character should have some epic conclusion that's on the moon? Or do you think it's more about that part's not the problem? It's that we just can't get the ship to get there because stuff in the way.
Yeah, I figure they probably hold the space travel under lock and key pretty much, knowing what the moon can do.
Okay, yeah. So there's like a long tradition, they've talked about this. There's like a storied history or something. Yeah, um, like you would think of a cult, but almost like Assassin's Creed or something. Like there's these long traditions that have been around forever. Um, Jeremy, what do you think? So we have to avenge a betrayal. You heard what he said. Now we want to kind of roll and add to what he said. What do you think? What sounds cool to you about the moon? About this maybe cult of uncovery that's kind of been blocking the path? Are they waiting for you guys? Like, do they know that you have a ship? Do they know what just happened here?
I'm almost wondering if Rusty could be like secretly a part of this cult because he's been
Oh
with
my god, yes.
and that could be another betrayal. And I like as
it's awesome. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, like as we're getting close to like fixing the ship, like I can do something to like, ooh, this screw is where does this go? It's like that extra screw in the IKEA box. Like, oh, we don't need this.
It's also another reason you get so frustrated because I'm like accidentally on the right track.
Yeah, I get frustrated with Hank, and it's just like this mother effort. Like he knows what we're up to. It's like, yep, I'm not going to let him do this.
Okay, so I'll give you a minute to think, right? Because in an epilogue, we should really kind of talk about like step by step of what happens a little bit without actually rolling through it all, right? So why don't you think a little bit about how you would betray them? Maybe to what end and why that would have happened. Why didn't they know about it before? So Sout, obviously you talk
Kind of like what they're both talking about, to be honest. They want to just merge together. So
Yeah.
so he goes to betray, right? Like we're going to the I have the ship, it just was worse for wear.
the dragon.
Right? And right. And the spirit of the wind has learned to trust us. We learned to trust it. And like I said, I always felt the resilience around it.
Yeah.
So it's just basically empowers all three of us. We feel more resilient. The ship becomes more resilient. But Rusty
probably like infused with the spirit of the wind. Yeah.
right. So like I guess like I wouldn't mind dying. That's what I was kind of alluding to. Maybe like Rusty like kills me off, which would anger the spirit, which would kill him back, which would be the whole revenge betrayal thing. What was the milestone called?
Avenge a betrayal. Yeah.
Right. So she would avenge my death, right? And then basically that would leave the archaeologist who saved the whole world on his own.
You know what's funny about that? I don't know what you're thinking, but yeah, what you just gave me that I thought would be epic, right? Is that maybe you guys deal with some cultists, you deal with some people who try to sabotage the ship, but ultimately with the spirit of the wind, you guys escape. It's a little bit of like a get to the plane as you like get the rocket up in the air as you're being chased and shot at, and then what should have been sweet sailing is you guys are flying to the moon, and with the spirit of the wind, it's almost effortless to get there. But yeah, it's like the sabotage and the problems that Rusty would throw in force.
Well, I have a question for Rusty.
Yeah.
Would Rusty actually like get his hands dirty? Would you like killed me with something? Maybe even the wrench? Like what kind of character is Rusty? Like Rusty completely underhand, or would he like said, "Hey, this is my order. This is so important. You're part of that cult, So I don't mind a gruesome death.
I don't think he would off you with his wrench because that's been his comfort his whole life.
That's true. Yeah.
He doesn't want to taint his perfect wrench.
Right.
So maybe you could force him to like suck down the smoke that he always forces you to suck down.
Or I would offer him a drink from my flask, but I would poison it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that's fine. I would go with that. I would finally think like he's coming around, and I would just totally not see it coming.
And maybe, in your case, like something epic could be like, with you being, drunk and being the pilot and the spirit of the wind being effortless, but like maybe, your dying moments are to just get the ship there because you're the only one who can.
Well, Sarah, that's what I was also alluding to, like the archaeologists take it. That's why it's perfect. It all worked out. Like,
yeah, well,
there was like it helps pilot the ship for, like I said, it's normally because it was to help pilot the ship when I had to go into like the battle mode. But since we don't need the battle mode.
Lucid, what do you think?
Yeah, and then you said Rusty is killed in return. You said.
Yeah, but it's wind spirit.
Yeah, the spirit knows what I did.
Wrath, right? Makes
Yep.
sense, right?
But in the process for the spirit to get it, it actually like damages the ship a bit, and so
Oh yeah.
Sarah is able to kind of pilot it and put on course. But what's more important is the truth of this getting out. And so I take Sarah and put her in like an escape pod to send her back to Earth.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
And I try to pilot the ship to the temple, and I'm more or less on target, but when I go to like activate the landing gear, I like stumble somehow, like the ship shutters and like I break off the lever, and so like I can't land. And so instead I aim it for what looks like some sort of barrier energy system thing that the cult's probably put in place, and smash that, which allows the spirits to get back into the temple and reactivate them as I blow up, taking it out.
I love that. Yeah, it's kind of like this whole epic movie that leads up to the point at like that kind of ends like 2 minutes before the ending, because it's like then the final scene is not what the spirits did in the temple and like this epic gritty sort of like crawl, hit the button in time sort of thing. Instead, it's just like what as the rocket just launches into the temple, the barrier blows up, 2 whirlwinds of energy fly into it, and then it's like the end. You're like, what the fuck? That's not the ending.
The cool thing is after the credits roll, right? And after the credits roll, that's when someone finds Sarah, and like realizes everything that's occurred. Another archaeologist.
And then the built of Hank.
It's what?
An epic statue of Hank is built.
Yeah.
What was the wrath that was exercised against Rusty? Like we said, the spirit of the wind had the wrath, but like what happened to Rusty? Did it like blow him to pieces?
I got an idea. So he hated that smoke, right?
He get airlocked. I mean,
well,
I figured
would say the wrath was, the wrench was used against me. One thing I truly cared about was turned against me, and that was used to take me out.
So you see a wrench like whirling around the edge of a tornado as it like batters you over and over again.
Yeah, and then so Hank, you said what happens to Sarah? Sarah goes in an escape pod, which looks like what? Is it like a 1-person unit with like a little box in it, or is it like something small?
Yeah, I'm picturing like a little sphere, like almost like a DBZ pod, like those type of things, but inside of it's just Sarah like strapped in with a seatbelt and duct taped down to the seat as well.
Duct taped down to the seat, of course. Where does Sarah go? Who does get Sarah?
Do you want to say you had an apprentice that you've been like?
Yeah, nobody would stay around long enough, probably.
A rival, perhaps.
That's actually almost like the bittersweet thing I'm seeing. Like it crashes, and the one who finds it is somebody who like was always ridiculing me and everything else. And when they find it, they take it, but they edit me out of everything in the video. And so they show what really happened, but I don't get any credit for it.
It's somebody who picks it up and goes, "Don't worry, I'll show them the truth." But with like venge, with like spite and malice in the voice. All right. So thank you guys so much for like putting that together. That was really, really fun and cool. And this is a game that yeah, and that's the best. To like embrace the story wherever it is. But this is a one shot, so it's one of those things where the gameplay is better to be like a 2 or 3 shot or several sessions. Kind of do each milestone, give them like a lot of love with like a 2-hour session or something.
Yeah.
But it gives you a good idea of kind of how it rolls and like what could be involved. The big part is we try to hit these goals, and the goals kind of help us pace it, because we all know like where we have to get to story wise.
Yeah.
So, thank you for being a part of telling this awesome story of activating the moon so that we can. We should epilogue that, right? So what does happen to the Earth? You broke the barrier, but like, what did it actually do? You were all told that, the Earth was this great place one time ago, but Doesn't necessarily mean that's what
It
happens.
does become a great place, but it becomes like Earth, right? Like humans start to breed out of control, they start to pollute, and it's just, it's like, yeah, it's better for us, but the planet suffers horribly.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I was thinking almost like, like to keep up kind of like how, all the heroes died. It's like, the spirits go in, they try to activate it, and they find out that it's the wrong moon or something.
Oh man.
It's the moon on the other one, and they lost their chance. Surprise.
Lucid, what do you think? What happens to the Earth?
I was thinking kind of playing off of what I was saying about like how it turns basically into Earth. Like it's better for us, but like it starts being ruined, and the spirits are just like that. We helped this happen, and they're killing us now. Screw that. We're going back to the cave.
Yeah, like 1,000 years later, they're like, yeah, maybe we made a mistake.
And they go into self-imposed exiles to refreeze the Earth and kill off the humans again.
Okay.
And it's a cycle. This has happened so many times.
Yeah, it happens every 10,000 years. So the last thing we do in Dream Chaser, whether it's the end of the session or end of a game, is we do a thing we call gratitude. So every player thinks of at least one thing that another player did that made their experience better. Maybe it was something they did during character creation, something funny they said. Maybe it was the milestone. Maybe it was something awesome in the game or something that inspired them. But think for a minute, and when you think of it, just spit it out there. It has to be another player, though.
Yeah. I think the character of Hank for me was a lot of fun because the good opposite of the kind of the crazy old mechanic that like you could just it seems like a slapstick comedy of like here's the crazy old guy and then here's the young architect that in the end always makes things work but drives him absolutely nuts, hence why he's an alcoholic now. And I think that kind of helped me expand on good old Mr. Rusty Shackleford, the classic Rusty Shackleford.
Well, I think both Boomhauer and Rusty like got this looming monster, and then they just try to like talk it down instead of like attacking it or anything. Very low key.
I like the fact that everyone was willing to have fun. I almost like a disbelief because like I know you guys were going to King of the Hill-ish. It's like if they're gonna go that route, I'll go Boomhauer.
I'll be honest, like I didn't even make the connection with when I picked Hank. I was just riffing off of Indiana Jones.
Oh, so I didn't know that. I thought you picked Hank because he picked Rusty.
No.
Shackleford. So it's like if they're gonna do this, I might as well be Boomhammer.
And when you picked that, I was like, oh, that's amazing. I'm glad I did that unintentionally.
Yeah, it was great. Like,
if we hadn't all died, I actually like was hoping like the final scene would be us like standing out in front of like the wall of the temple or whatever, just drinking out of a can. Just, yep.
That's the alternate ending. That's like the alternate ending. That's like alternate parallel universe.
Yeah.
I think that's another fun part is how we all just kind of took like how things were like things were going well, we're doing good, and then it was just like let's just give this a left turn and go off that cliff. Burning in style.
Yeah, I love you guys for that. You were like, no. This just it's going too well now. We need to crash and burn. I'm the betrayer. I'm gonna sabotage the ship in the air. Just when you think everything's good, I'm gonna poison him. And he's like, well, if you poison me, then that spirit loves me. It's gonna beat you with your own beloved wrench. And then you're like, well, if that happens, then I'm gonna be forced to land the ship. And
that's the best part, though.
So I can't land the ship. I can crash land the ship. And if I come lucky, it'll still work out in the end, just not for any of us.
I have to give one more quick gratitude because that totally reminded me. I like how Hank's character didn't care about surviving. He just wanted that recognition, even though he would never receive it, right? It's like I'm dead on the ground. The spirit is like probably like sad that I'm dead. He's like, let me not break your moment. Let me just take this. You guys have your moment. Like I could just envision like the spirit like being really sad on my corpse, and you're like, hold on, let me just take this, okay? And
duct tape it. Yeah. By the way, duct taping the tree stump.
There's a lot of awesome epic moments.
Okay, well, with that, I'm going to turn the camera off. We can talk for a minute afterwards, but thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting and entertaining. And for that, we'll see you again later.
Bye.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, and